You can support this show at patreon.com/ASA podcasting.
Squirt, squirt, blue goo.
The wasteland is a post-apocalyptic mess as the sole survivor wanders out about to see the rest. Nuclear explosions sending out the gamma rays from deep within the core, frozen atomic waves. From deep within the core, frozen atomic waves.
Hello and welcome to the 430th edition of the Fallout Feed. I am Andrew, joined by a flock of my favorite Fallout folks. Tonight, we've got Ray. What's up, Ray?
Hello, hello.
Also, Jess. What's going on, Jess?
Hey, Andrew. Greets, everybody.
And first-time participant, we have roundtable player Jason. What's going on, Green Dragon? How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing no good. Thank you very much.
Wonderful to have you on the show. We are the show who compares and contrasts Fallout experiences through a lively roundtable discussion by playing through the same quests with characters who have been randomly assigned drastically different attributes. Welcome, everybody. Tonight on the show, we've got some roundtable quests we'll be getting into over there in Nuka World at Dry Rock Gulch and Galaxy Zone. We've been playing Nuka World in survival mode. We've been doing all the Fallout 4 DLC. So earlier in the season, tiptoed around over there in the fog, and over there at Fahaba, we did Automatron. Now we're wrapping up our time in Nuka World. So we'll play these last two areas, and we've got one more episode of Quest to go through next week. Excited to hear any feedback anyone has about their wrapping up of Nuka World. We'll get into some gameplay here in just a minute. I've prepared a quick Scream at Your Phone list. We haven't done one of those in a little while.
Oh, boy.
And Jess has a few iguana bits on the way out the door, it looks like. So I will go ahead and roll into our gameplay as per usual. Hey, Ray, did you get a chance to play any video games this week?
I did play a video game this week.
And I assume it was Fallout 76, right?
Oh, yeah.
No.
Nothing but.
You haven't blown the dust off of that in months.
No, it's I didn't even load it on the new computer.
Wow, revelations and deep secrets here tonight. I didn't realize that. I mean, then again, you've only had it for a month. Why would you, right?
Yeah. So, yeah, no, I've definitely been pouring a lot of time into Starfield.
Having a good time? Sounds like.
So much fun. Just checking out all the different facets of the game, and there's so many. I started my 5th character today.
I was going to ask about that. Is that a usual thing with your style when you start a new game? Like when you played Fallout 4 the first time, did you have one character that you played past, whatever level before you started going back? Or do you always branch out to a million characters right off the bat?
So pretty much anytime I meet somebody new in a game when I'm first playing it, of course, the first time I played, I'm, dutifully going through the Minuteman, slowly but surely getting annoyed by, Preston's, constant sending you here and sending you there. And then, meet the railroad. And I'm like, oh, holy crap. I've got to start a new character just to play these guys. So start a character, go do the railroad, meet the Brotherhood of Steel.
Faction-based.
Yeah, very much.
I didn't realize that was the motivation. Okay, that's really neat. So you're not finishing the game and starting a new character every time.
No.
Did you do it with Skyrim too? Did you I need a mage. Oh, I need a warrior. Oh, I need a scholar. Oh, I need a this, that, and the other. A thief.
It took a really long time before I started a mage.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because that was really my beef against even playing Skyrim to start with was, all that magic nonsense. But now, of course, I've, played every imaginable kind of mage. So
those alteration mages, you got to watch out.
So with Starfield, so my first character, I just kind of wanted to see, what was what and figure out the game. And so my natural inclination is a sniper. So I started off, and best I could tell, the Ronin was going to be the best, sneak character, but found out pretty quick that wasn't the case. And so that character was based on Mordecai from Borderlands. That didn't really pan out, so I tried again. This time with the what is it? The cyber something. And
Cyberpunk, Ray. Come on.
Yeah. And so that went a lot better. So that one, that's when I started down my Expanse rant. So that was Klaus Ashford. He was going to be my pirate. Well, that didn't really work out. So I started another character, and this one was Timothy, which is Amos Burton. And he became, the Mac Daddy pirate. And so that was fun. And then I also started Prax, who is the scientist. And that's kind of my mage at this point. Not really thrilled to death with running around trying to scan everything. It's a pain in the ass trying to scan 100% on a planet.
Science is magic.
It really is, depending on the planet. Some of them you have to go to multiple biomes, do a lot of exploration to find everything.
Yeah. So, not really into building and crafting and stuff like that. So that one kind of fell to the wayside. And then, but in the process, with the pirate, I made a fighter ship that just absolutely melts everything in its path. So that was kind of fun. And so I wanted to try, an earlier character and see what kind of shipbuilding I could do, because it was, it wasn't as expensive as I expected it to be. And so my science character fixed up the frontier and made it a nice ship, could travel a long way. Basically, I doubled the cargo and the grab jump range. And that was super cheap. I mean, that whole build was only like 40 grand.
Yeah, upgrading isn't that bad. It's, I did some experimentation to see if it was better to get into the shipbuilder, sell parts and buy new parts, or use the upgrader. And it seems like it subtracts the money, the credits you'd get from selling in order to pay for your upgrade. So it's about the same, just using the upgrade window. Now, the picture you posted in our Starfield section of the Discord, is that your upgraded Frontier?
That was
or is that a whole new ship?
upgraded Frontier. The red ship was the pirate ship. That one, I completely scrapped everything and got 5,000 credits because it was a little prison shuttle. But the Frontier, that one I scrapped I scrapped everything except for the hab, the habitation module, because I knew that was one that I liked. I liked the layout of that, and I don't know what they all look like inside. And so since I knew that one, liked it, I left that. Now, so when I went back in and started putting it back together, any of your old parts that you do want to use, they're still there in the menu. And they only cost you what credit you got for scrapping them in the first place. So while brand new, the landing gear might cost you, 5,000 a piece. Because you scrapped them, you only lose the 500 credits that you got for scrapping them. So that's definitely the best way to go, is
Yeah, it seems to
scrap
do.
anything you think that you might want to replace. If you decide not to replace it, you can just put the old one back on and it doesn't cost you anything.
And it does a running tally, right? Like it seems like it does a running tally as
Yeah.
you go. And basically you check out at the end after you make all
Right.
your adjustments, buy, sell, scrap. And then you're like, okay, check out, ching, 28,000
Yeah.
credits.
So if I want to work on my ship, where do you have to go to do that? Because I haven't changed my ship at all yet.
So all the spaceports have a ship tech, and he's a guy you can pay 1,000 units to fix your ship for you, which you never really need to have done unless you don't have any ship parts at all. And he, one of his options is you want to view and modify your ships. And so it's also the place where if you have multiple ships and you want to change which ship you have on the landing pad, you can go in there and swap it out. But it also offers you the shipbuilder menu, which you can go in and then start manipulating your ship. It's a little daunting at first, have
Very
some fun.
daunting.
The good thing is that if you get overwhelmed and you've got parts scattered all over and some of them have disappeared into the into the ether and you don't know where they're at, you can just back out of the menu without saving any changes and go back in, and it'll all be rebuilt and put back together.
That's a really good tip, Ray, because when you say it's daunting, I say seriously daunting, because like many things in the game, especially early on, they don't explain all the systems fully. A lot of it you have to figure out as you go. For instance, I was helping someone who was streaming, and I was in their chat kind of walking them through how to upgrade their ship and how to make changes. And they couldn't figure out how to buy. I'm like, you click anywhere that's not on the ship. And they're like, why would I click somewhere not on the ship? I'm like, if you want to find the, build menu, you got to click somewhere not on the ship. So they did, and then they got the menu and they could choose. But nowhere would you, do you see that?
Right.
And there's a lot of little things like that. Also, pieces are so complicated. Just to quickly bring up, because you have a lot of pieces on your part on your ships that you've done, but each ship technician, each location that you can work on your ship, Andrew, you can get different parts. So for instance, you might get a lot of stuff from Nova Galactic and Deimos when you're at New Atlantis. But then say you go to Neon or another location, you might start getting some Stroud Eklund parts or other parts. So like you can't get all the same ship parts in the menu at the same locations. Plus, as you level up and get higher level and unlock skills, you're going to be able to get access to more ship parts too, which is partly why I think they said building ships is more of a later game activity, which it doesn't have to be. But if you want to be able to really get into it and have access to all the parts, yeah, it is.
Well, Ray said something about if you don't have the ship part. It's like I'm thinking, have I picked up one ship part yet? I have no idea what a ship part is or where you find them.
You should have 6 of them.
It's a robot repair kit.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
when you do that first little skirmish, kind of the tutorial on how to shoot things down with Vasco when you first leave the mining camp, if you follow the instructions and you loot the containers of the ships that you blow up, you'll end up with 6 ship repair parts.
It is highly unlikely
in your ship's inventory.
It's highly unlikely I'm following any instructions that anyone's telling me to do. By the way, I'm just kind of fumbling my way through at best, skipping through a lot of conversations, like blowing past all sorts of descriptions and helpful conversations, I'm sure.
Yeah. When you're working on your ship, there are 3 basic connection types that you pay attention to. So one of them is a circle with a little arrow on it. And that is a crew pathway. So that's a door that you can pass through. So you have to make sure that, like your landing bay has to connect to a part that has one of those, pass-throughs so that you can get inside your ship.
That'd be nice.
Yeah. You can't have the landing bay connected to the reactor and like the guts kind of phase through the reactor to get inside. Yeah, I found that out.
Then the next one is just a circle with no arrow on it. And that is, just parts connections. So, that's where your engines connect, your reactors and all that kind of stuff. New modules, habitation modules and that. Then the third kind is a rectangle inside the circle. And that is a weapon connection part. Now the nice thing is that if you hover your cursor over that circle and hit add, then it'll only bring up a list of items that are compatible with that connection point. So, you're not going to be going through, if you hit a circle dot, then you're not going to be going through your weapons list because the weapons can't connect to that. If you go to the rectangle dot, then you're not going to be going through any of the, habitation modules or anything like that. So that makes it a little bit easier. So that's like a context menu for each of those different kinds of connection points.
There are a lot of little hints on different things and maps in the game. For instance, we recently learned that on the star map, when you see a glowy star with a bit of a fuzzy halo around it, that means it's a location you can travel to an event to. When you see a white star, it's a location within jump range for you. And when you see a red star on the star map, it's a location beyond your jump range. So you'd have to travel to multiple systems to get there. Once again, not explained. Like there are all these little context clues. I just have to say, it does my heart a lot of good to hear you talk about this, Ray. When you posted that ship, I'm like, Andrew, we've got him. He's a builder now. Like after all these years.
He finally likes to craft.
Well, it's definitely, it's my own little Kerbal.
It's more practical. Yeah, it's a lot like Kerbal Space Program, exactly. And it's practical. Like you're building stuff you can fly and fight with. There's use to it.
Yeah. So it's surprisingly, once you kind of get into it and realize, and there's a systems check, in the process. So, it keeps tabs of everything that you're doing, and it gives you warnings, if there's a problem. If you've got something that's not lining up, or if you're trying to connect something that that doesn't go, or if you've got a part floating off, that you can't see,
that happens.
It'll warn you that there's an unconnected part in your list.
You have no door to your cockpit.
I had that
whole system. That's so funny.
Yeah.
I had a floating porthole at one point. What I'm just going to say is you're getting so into detail on this. This is just one system in the game. There are so many in-depth systems in this. Outpost building, a whole thing that, we could talk about for hours. Shipbuilding, a whole thing we talk about for hours. It's awesome.
Yeah. Now, one of the things that you don't really notice at first is, so the piloting skill. The first two, make you a better pilot. The second two levels give you access to B-class ships and C-class ships. And you can if you are speccing into flying, like my pirate character was definitely specced into that. So there is a really quick and easy way to level to max your level on piloting.
Mm-hmm.
So pretend like you're going to join the Vanguard. So he's the first guy that you meet when you do the constellation quest. And he sends you to the simulation, the flight simulation. And you go in there and you go through the flight simulation. And if you go through the first 3 levels, I don't recommend going through any more than the first 3. You get 5 ship kills. Get out of the simulator, go back in, get 5 more. And then each time you level up your piloting skill, go and put a perk point. Make sure you have 4 perk points sitting and waiting, for your piloting. And it takes about 10 or 15 minutes to get all the way to rank 4 by hopping in and out of the simulator and
That's
killing
really
those 5
impressive that those count. Now, quick note for those talking about the story basis, the actual goal with the simulator, for those who haven't done the Vanguard yet, not to spoil too much, but you need to do this to start. And how far you make it in the simulator determines how long it'll take you for your citizenship nominally, and also your starting bonus and pay and a few things. So, you follow the quest line. You want to do things right when you actually do it. But at any time you can go and you can do the simulator and do this trick to get more kills.
Yeah, but I mean, who wants to join the Vanguard? Seriously.
My character is UC Vanguard. You might have seen the photos of her. Very proud. But also, I got level 5, y'all. I got level 5. Not that I'm bragging or anything.
Yeah. But getting the 4th rank of your piloting skill will let you fly any ship. Which, if you're playing a pirate character, make sure you get that 4th rank, because when you steal somebody's ship, you want to be able to fly it, after you're done. So I have 3 characters that are based on characters from The Expanse. And when I got done, building the frontier out last night, I was like, okay, I need to make a shipbuilding, behemoth, one of these, huge cargo ships that, hold just an absolute crap ton of cargo. And so I started a space trucker. And the first trucker that came to mind. So the first one was
The first
another
one,
Expanse,
the
which
second
was
first
the Somnambulist, which is a ship that they hop on when they're trying to to get out of a sticky situation. But the one that I ended up settling on, because this is going to be, not necessarily, I didn't want it. It's hard to fit belters into, into this universe, because you don't really have an all space play. You have to be on planets, and belters don't like planets.
Mars seems like the closest, but still on a planet, yeah. Unless they lived on space stations, which there are plenty of stations, but there's not really a faction that's space station based, is there?
The pirates.
I guess, yeah, they would be right with the key. Okay.
So the one that I settled on was Cletus Snow. So does anybody know who Cletus Snow is?
I have absolutely no idea. But I thought you were going to say Planet Express or something from Futurama. Who's Cletus Snow?
So Cletus Snow is the truck driver that is hauling a load of contraband Coors from Texarkana to Atlanta in Smokey and the Bandit. And
Classic.
so So I've got Solomon Coe is my companion on this, and so he's Burt Reynolds, and I'm Jerry Lee. So
Very nice.
it was perfect. So I found a trucker hat before I left the mine at the beginning, and then in the first place you go, I found a it's an outfit that's just a kind of a turn down pants with a white tank top t-shirt, and so that's my outfit. So white tank top and trucker hat.
So have you met any kind of space trucker faction, since we're talking about factions here?
No, and that's the thing so somewhere along the way, I've seen that there is supposed to be missions that you can pick up to haul, big loads of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't figured out where that is.
So I've seen some at outposts, like civilian outposts or outposts on planets that you don't create, but are just outposts there. Sometimes they'll have a mission board that's basically they're either looking for for one of the cargo relays in order to bring stuff back and forth, but they're also looking for sometimes a load of goods. I think it is more a cargo relay than actually you flying a load of goods from one place to another. But that's still the closest possibility. There are a lot of little things in the game we just haven't found yet.
Right.
And you're a lot further, I think, than the rest of us. Although, and Jason's been playing I've been playing quite a bit, but everyone knows I'm slow when it comes to how far I get.
I'm not farther. I might be farther in, all the different, groups that I've, come in contact with. But so my pirate character is my highest level. Because he went through region and the pirates, which initially started with the Vanguard.
Right.
That's how I figured out that that simulator flights counted towards your piloting skill. He's level 20, and he's picked up he's picked up the most of the. No, he didn't. So my sniper character picked up the most fragments, and so that was a total of 4. So that's all the further I've been through the Constellation quest. So I did meet what's her name, Andresia.
Yeah. I've been kind of pronouncing it Andrea, or Andrea. But yeah, so they're part of a set of 3 quests. So you're still a lot further than most of us. Like, I'm not that far on the story mission at all. Sulior and other friends aren't, but some have finished the story. So but you're spreading out. You're spreading love. Do you have a favorite part so far about any of this, or you're just diving in and figuring it out?
So I like stealth a lot, and the Ryujin quest is a lot of stealth. Like crazy stealth. Like reload 1,000 times stealth.
Yeah, for people listening, Ryujin Industries is a company on Neon that you can join up with as a faction.
And so that was a lot of fun going through that one.
Cool. It sounds great. I haven't done it yet, but from everything I've heard, it sounds fantastic.
Yeah, and then that character also did the pirate faction.
So that's your level 20 for sure. No wonder.
Yeah. And then so that was a lot longer. I just wanted to join the pirates and start, taking ships and running contraband. But that one just goes on and on and on. Actually, both of them did. They're both super long quests.
But you're coming up on about how long in the game? Because I don't think you've said on the podcast yet. How long in Starfield so far?
So right now I'm at 94 hours.
Yeah. So not to out you, but he's played a lot more than most people, y'all. He's really putting the time in.
So yeah, I might be obsessed.
It's a fantastic game. It's all I can think
But
about.
I mean, RPG and space. I mean, what can I do? That it rolls my three other favorite games all in one. So the only thing I need now are submarines.
I'm sure there's a water
But
planet.
since you can't even, well, there are, but you can't get underwater.
Oh.
You swim all day long, but you can never get your head under the water. So.
Maybe you can mod your ship later to have a propeller and a.
Yeah, I'll make a little yellow submarine ship.
There you go. It's great.
So, and my docking ring can be my periscope.
Nice. Any other Starfield stuff you want to mention off the top here?
Well, I mean, even though we just went, the ASA podcast this week was not the Skyrim Addict. It was the Starfield Addict.
Starfield Addict.
It was definitely a Starfield week, you guys said, yeah.
So we did a lot of talking about Starfield on that show.
Well, you got to talk about what you've been doing.
But yeah, I mean, I can go on and on and on. The hardest thing for me is to be able to, talk about stuff and not, drop spoilers. I mean, the good news is that since I'm not doing the story, I don't have a lot of story spoilers. But there's a lot of stuff that people just like to figure out for themselves.
Yeah, I was going to ask is
kind of like me. I mean, I've avoided any and all, outside information, just to try to figure stuff out for myself.
Mm-hmm.
So it's been fun, but yeah, I did manage to pry a little bit of time out for my Fallout 4 quests.
Oh, good.
So
get over to Dry Rock.
I did.
Gulch.
I was worried. I was worried as I was starting to go. I'm like, oh crap, I'm not going to get this done.
Those Galaxy Zone robots can be a little brutal.
Yeah, that's plus I had a gnarly little glitch in the middle of it. So
oh no, that's the worst.
So I'll talk about that later.
All right, we'll get into this quest here in a little while. Hey, Green Dragon, sir, Mr. Jason.
Yes.
Usually when we have a fresh guest on the show, we like to review sort of like your gaming history a little bit, maybe your Fallout history, and that sort of thing. When did you first get into Fallout? What was your first Fallout game you played?
Would have been Fallout 2.
Oh wow!
The second one.
Way back in the day, then, huh?
Way back. Played that one, and then went back and played the first one, and then when the third one came out, I definitely jumped onto that one.
Yeah.
And pretty much, since post-apocalyptic is one of my favorite genres, I've pretty much jumped on just about every Fallout game that has come out. Played it.
Very cool. Do you have any other post-apocalyptic games that you really like in addition to Fallout? Not to branch off too quickly. I'm just curious if you say it's your favorite setting.
Did you play Wasteland or anything like that?
I have played that a bit, but I don't know. It just didn't grip me as much as what Fallout did.
Mm-hmm.
Probably the other big one I like is Rage.
Oh, okay.
I've heard good things. I haven't actually played it myself.
Just the whole actually being able to like do the whole ride around Mad Max style in cars and have car combat in that as well.
Mm-hmm. Do you have a favorite?
It's a lot of fun in Rage 2 to run people over.
Aptly named, then. Did you have a favorite entry in the Fallout catalog? Is there one game that you think stands above the others?
Probably the one I've spent most time with would be 4.
Nice.
And mostly because of the building in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good addition. New Vegas? Like that one too?
Yeah, I've done New Vegas.
I just always hear so many people say it's the best one. But for someone who's been playing the series for so long, it's nice to hear you say 4.
No, I would say 4 definitely. Probably I've played that more because of the building in it.
Mm-hmm.
More than anything else.
What was your what did you first play video games on? What was your first system? Was it a computer of some kind or Atari or something? What'd you first get into?
My dad bought me and my brother a Sega Mega Drive.
Oh,
for
nice.
Christmas. When we were way little.
So you were a Sega family instead of Nintendo.
Well, like up until then, like it never gaming systems and that had never really been a thing for me.
Mm-hmm.
We had some of those Game and Watch handheld ones.
Oh wow.
Yes.
Other than that, and then so Dad got this for us, and that was pretty much both me and my brother hooked from then on.
I always wanted Nintendo, but my parents sprung for a Sega Genesis. Was one of the first consoles we had in my house.
I think one was the Mega Drive, the second Mega Drive 2.
And that was
Sonic is that in the game actually on the console.
Yeah. That was well before the Genesis, right?
Yeah.
Very cool. All right. Do you have a Fallout play style that you've carried from game to game? Do you do like the sneaky sniper thing? Are you a melee guy? What's your sort of play style in Fallout games?
I usually go sniper with a shotgun as a backup. So sneaky sniper, and then charge in with a shotgun to finish them off.
Sort of a combo of
shotgun for when in buildings and sniper rifle for when outside.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense. Very cool. And mechanics-wise, like you mentioned Fallout 4, the building is one of the reasons you played that one so much. Do you think the game has changed mechanics-wise from 3 to New Vegas to 4? Is there a sniper setup that's better in one game versus the other, or is it you use that one pretty consistently throughout?
I think I've used that pretty consistently throughout. And probably most first-person shooter games, I quite often will use the same loadout. It's my go-to usually. Although Starfield, I'm going more pistols.
More pistols, nice.
Mm.
When Ray was saying that he was talking about doing his sniper build, he picked the Ronin at first, and that's the one I picked just because it had melee and sneak as like two of the initial traits that you could latch on to. But then he said that the Ronin wasn't the best for the sneaky sniper stuff, and then I was thinking, I don't think I've seen a rifle yet. I'm like almost 10 levels into the game, and I've seen all these like different quick shot machine gun type things that like shoot more rapid fire than they do low damage and shoot a lot of rounds off. I was like, I don't think that I've seen like a real like weapon that could be used by a sniper or something. Maybe that's just the luck of what's fallen to.
Partly that. And I was going to say you hadn't been, you hadn't done a whole lot of shopping like we were talking about off the show until recently.
Yeah.
A lot of the rifles are the assault rifles that you get, come in different flavors. So you might have a version that's, semi-auto or full automatic, and so that kind of changes up how you would use it. And then with the mods, you can make it more snipery. But there are some dedicated snipers as well.
Yeah, there's a good one you can buy. As soon as you get to New Atlantis, in the what's the name of the company? Centauran.
Yeah, the Centauri Arsenal or Centauran Arsenal.
Yeah. So that's a nice one. It early on you end up having to buy ammo for it because it doesn't drop at least until you. I think the first time I saw it was when I did the Samco mission.
Yeah, that was like the 11 millimeter, right? I was talking about how that's the same as the drumbeat ammo. Yeah.
But that one proved very effective, and it's silenced. So that was pretty cool.
The closest I've seen, I've picked up one of the ones that's normally like a machine gun, but it's been tricked out as a sniper rifle.
I found a lot of silenced weapons early on, but none of them were really long range or short range stuff.
Just like in Fallout 4, it changes the name with the mods too. So you get the professionals version of some of these pistols or guns because they put a silencer on it. I enjoy that when you get it. It's funny. My only gold legendary drop, which, by the way, for tiers of weapons and legendaries, it does have the color system in Starfield, as most of you playing have probably realized. So the gold ones are, of course, the best. It was a Grendel. Of all the things to get, I got a gold legendary Grendel. And I'm like, really? But it's got the coolest effect. It applies a random elemental damage to whatever you hit. So it could be corrosive, it could be burning, it could be something else. And it's not fully automatic. It's semi. So I'm here tossing multiple bullets into people with different effects, and it's pretty awesome.
Where are they pulling? See, I'm not a weapons historian by any means. And I know very little about guns specifically. Where are they pulling these names from? Like, there's a billion different kinds of guns that I've seen, and I don't. Are these references to actual weapons that exist in the world, or are they just making this stuff up? Or are they references to shows and stuff? Where are they pulling these names for all these weapons from?
Oh, I think they're mostly making it up, right? I mean, you got things like the older shotgun you might find, or a few things that are direct references. But most of them are, I don't think there's a big Grendel or Maelstrom model of assault rifle currently. I think they're like, ooh, good sci-fi names. This one's a beast. Let's call it Grendel.
Yeah, it's like Grendel's the one name I recognize. That's because I had to read Beowulf in high school. Like that's the antagonist of the Beowulf character is a monster named Grendel. And I was hoping that like you could get a modified, upgraded Grendel called Grendel's Mother, which I would hope.
You can name it that yourself. You can name all your weapons, Andrew.
It'd be cool. But and do you have any other specific? Because that's the only one I recognize. Like, oh, I wonder if that's a Beowulf reference. So I didn't know if all the other guns had pop culture references or like references to actual weaponry or other space movies and shows or where did they just sound like cool sci-fi stuff? Maybe I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think
we'll
that's
have to see what
Dwight
says.
Equinox, Solstice. A lot of them are space words. Like Solstice, obviously, Equinox, both of those. That's laser rifle, laser pistol, Nova Blast, like the Coachman or the Pacifier. Like, I don't think of any of those as
Coachman and Pacifier sound like Western guns. You know what I mean?
Yeah, those are both shotguns. Now, I think that the knives are maybe real because you get like a naval cutlass or a combat knife. Like those things make sense. There's actually a Wakizashi. Looking ahead, I mean, not big spoilers, but if you're into melee, you might eventually get a Wakizashi. That's obviously a real type of sword.
I don't know what that means. Is that like a samurai type?
Isn't it
sword?
a Japanese sword? Yeah,
I
believe so.
it's Japanese samurai would have a katana and a wakizashi as
So I'm
their
I'm
weapons.
familiar with katana, but I don't know what the other one
Yeah.
would look like.
It's
Cool.
it's kind of like a short sword,
No,
shorter
nice.
shorter than a katana.
But
Very
it's
cool.
a nice mix of weapons and loot and all that. But yeah, sorry, Jason. Back to your gameplay. We got a little bit of a digression there.
Yeah, thanks for a little bit of your history. What have you been getting into recently, besides the?
I did a little quizzing at the beginning before we started, and I think there's one more Fallout game that Jason's played.
Oh yeah,
The Fallout Shelter.
The best game.
There we go. Yeah, the best in the series. No, honestly though, dude, are you a fan?
I haven't played it for a while now, but I played it heaps when it first came out, and I think I had at one stage two or three vaults going at the same time.
That's what I like to hear.
But I haven't jumped in and really tried it with a lot of the new stuff they've added.
Oh, they've added a bunch over the years. I know.
Yeah.
I'm getting excited to see when they bust out the Halloween quests here. I need to get some new ghost costumes for my new vaults.
Because another hobby of mine is I actually play hobby board games, and I have a Fallout Shelter board game that I sometimes get out and play as well.
How on earth does that work? Is that a single player thing?
Now, multiplayer. You're all working in the same shelter, and it's whoever does the best becomes the overseer.
Man, I need to check that out. See if we have the
And
Shelter
the
board
box
game.
actually looks like a Fallout lunchbox.
Oh,
The box
beautiful.
looks-
Minimum age on that is like 14, Andrew. So it might be a little bit before you can get Mo to play with you. But I mean, hey, you guys could have fun. Looking up right now, it's from Fantasy Flight Games and it only came out 3 years ago. Yeah, I've never played this one. Look at that. Very
Wow,
cool.
that looks very
And I've
neat.
got the other Fallout game that they've done as well.
Oh, the tabletop
Which is-
one?
Yeah.
Yeah, Craig has played that, I think. That seems very fun.
And I've also got from Modiphius, I've got the Skyrim tabletop board game.
I didn't even know there was a Skyrim game. Holy cow.
Yeah. But Modiphius also did a Fallout miniatures board game as well, which I've got. I've never played it, but I bought a whole lot of the figures.
I'm going to have to get this.
That
Shelter
is
board
awesome.
game.
Yeah. The Fallout Modiphius, we talked about the role playing game. Don't always use the miniatures with it, but we definitely know a number of people who play that for sure.
Yeah, I've got it all sitting there. I haven't touched it yet.
I mean, sometimes when it comes to games with miniatures, and pardon me, big tabletop miniature game, war game fans, a lot of it seems to be more about collecting and painting the miniatures than it is actually playing.
Yeah. I've painted half the miniatures for my other Fallout board game.
That's awesome. But current gameplay, I appreciate the Shelter digression. I'm sure Andrew did quite a bit. I'm glad you are also a Shelter enjoyer.
Sorry,
But what have you been playing the last couple weeks?
I'm reading this Shelter board game description. Sorry.
I thought you were. Mhm.
Pretty much, it's 76 and Starfield. The two main ones I've been doing. Pretty much getting my dailies done in 76, and then jumping onto Starfield.
Yeah, ditto.
It's brilliant. Doing your chores so you can do your fun.
Yeah.
Getting the chores done first. Very responsible of you to play your one game before you play your other game.
Well, I've got some other people that we all jump on together at the same time, and usually knock them all out together at the same time.
That's great. It goes quicker when you're on a team for sure, especially if you're going to try to do a daily ops or something in there.
Yeah.
Awesome possum. Well, anything else you wanted to mention on Starfield or 76 specifically?
Um, no, like in Starfield, I've probably on my fourth restart because I'll get about 2 hours in or to a certain point, and then I'll think maybe if I try this way, it'll be a better build, or like I said before, I'll bump into a certain character and so I'll or a certain faction, and so I'll start again and do a whole new gameplay. I'll yeah. Hopefully, I won't do that too many more times, and I'll get more into the game.
Yeah, you got to eventually pick one.
Yeah.
I mean, you're like, okay, well, there's 30 backgrounds. I mean, there's not quite 30, but there's this many backgrounds. Going to have this many characters. But what is it that inspires you to do a different background? Is it a character you meet that you want to adventure with, or like a character you're like, oh, I want to do a character like that character I met?
Sometimes it's I'll be the character. And it's like, okay, now if I want to travel with this character, the way I'm playing with this one doesn't quite fit in a story type scenario. So I'll reinvent another character just to do that. Or it's more factions. I'll bump into a faction and it'll be like, oh, I've got a good idea for a build that will work with that faction, and it'll just sit in the back of my head, and I'll just restart and go for that.
So a lot like Ray. Then I can
Yeah.
see that. Do you play Fallout the same way? Like, do you tend to do this with Fallout games too, or
Yeah,
did you when they
Fallout,
came out, when they were new?
Fallout, Mass Effect. Yeah, if you've got multiple choices of characters and classes, then I'll usually do that.
Favorite class in Mass Effect?
Engineer.
Oh, engineer, good one. That is an unusual choice. So you're into the drones and stuff?
Yeah.
Very cool. Okay. Sorry, completely non-Fallout related there, but I was excited to hear that.
It's like at the moment I'm playing through trying to get the constellation quests done, but I kind of want to explore the serpent cult and see what happens if you follow them.
House Faroon, good call.
Yeah.
Good call.
Yeah. Yeah, that one's been calling to me too.
It's the serpent cult.
Ever since I went to do the ship battle things for to get it up. Oh, what's it? The simulation, the battle simulations, and when you're running through the little museum thing, you get to see some of the armor from House Faroon, and it looks pretty cool.
Yeah.
And so ever since I saw that, I've been going, and just the whole fact that if you pick that at the start, you've got that kind of dependency on jumping as like a drug as well. Kind of, I don't know, just I'm tempted. I'm at some stage I will do it, whether I start again or I keep doing this playthrough, and then that'll be the next one, unless something else catches my interest. But
yeah, it's easy to do.
Yeah, I could see myself playing through this game multiple times, like I've done with Fallout. Fallout 4. I've done at least one playthrough for each faction.
Yeah.
And most games I'll do that.
It's a good way to experience all the different possibilities. That's for sure.
Yeah, I like to see how well they've done the different possibilities.
Absolutely. All right. Anything other specifically you want to mention before? It's like you said you're going like sniper and stuff again, and your multiple restarts of Starfield.
Well, I've actually the one I'm doing now, I've actually gone with the laser weapons, and I was aiming to go for a sniper build with that, but I randomly picked up a purple 2-star laser pistol, which is I'm killing most guys in 2 shots, or if I can get them in the head, it's a 1 shot. And so I've just been sticking with that and using that.
Nice.
Just a random pickup I got from a chest or from someone I killed.
Very cool. Yeah, I still haven't figured out how the whole generation of weapons and all that happens in this game. And from what I gather, like I got all excited when I came across my first weapons bench because I was like, oh sweet, I've got this axe. I'm gonna go up and mod this axe or create a new weapon maybe, and like I couldn't do either of those things. I was just very confused. I'm like, okay, so then I started looking at the perk charts. I'm like, okay, so where, and sort of like where's the crafting stuff? Okay, and which option will let me modify melee weapons? That has to be an option since I can't, my axe doesn't even pop up on the screen when I'm at this weapons bench. So it must be, I just probably don't have the thing activated yet. As far as I can tell, I can't ever modify a melee weapon. I'm like, well, that can't be right. That's one thing you've been able to do forever in these games. Come on. So, I don't know.
Yeah, but what could you do really? You could work on sledgehammers, make them super sledges. You could do baseball bats, make them jet powered.
Get your like serrated edges on some of the blades.
Combat knives and machetes. All you could do is either paint them black or put serration on them.
I'd like to put a skin on there. I like the skins are part of the options and on the weapons bench. Like, oh, that's cool.
Yes, I want more skins. I want more lots of things, but the game did just come out. I will say that part of the melee modding is due to the wasteland aesthetic when you think about it too. That we're jury-rigging a lot of our weapons, like the shish kebab, motorcycle handbrake and the flamer and all that. Like these are weapons that might not be quite as useful or likely in the actual future. But yeah, we should have more melee mods. I haven't seen any yet. I don't know that there aren't any though.
Okay. I just haven't run across it yet. And I'm still early in the game. Yeah.
So start using guns all the time.
I can't.
And then every drop you get will be a legendary melee weapon.
Oh, okay. I see what you mean. Yeah. The game knows what I'm using, so it gives me the opposite of what
it gives you the opposite. It's I've probably sold more legendary melee weapons than Grindles.
Yeah, I found my first legendary melee weapon last night. I was talking to Jess about I'm trying to figure out how all this works, and she's like, well, some stores sell swords. You can go buy swords. So I was like, well, store? I haven't been to one of those yet. She's like, okay, well, here you go.
You're like level 7 or 8, never been to a store.
No, I haven't been shopping yet.
So of course you're over cucumbered. Oh my goodness. I mean, everybody, all my friends are over cucumbered this game. Let's be honest. We all need more carry weight. We need more cargo space. I get that. I get over cucumbered as a way of life. But man, first thing I look for is a store so I can sell stuff because I like a clean stash box.
Well, is that
thing that?
Go ahead, Jason.
Well, one thing that I did when I first started playing was I was just picking up every little bit of junk I could, thinking I can then go scrap it and use it for crafting.
Yeah.
Right.
That's what they've taught us.
All those desk fans.
Yeah. That's what they've taught us to do in their past games. So.
Yeah, I'm sitting here with heaps of what are they the space tape or whatever they call it.
Vacuum tape. I think
that was
called,
the biggest disappointment. Yeah, vac tape.
All I need to mod my gun is adhesive. Why can't I break down the vacuum tape?
Use the vacuum tape, right? That makes sense.
Yeah, that was a huge disappointment.
Sorry, guys. For the same reason, you can't go to your closet and pull out duct tape in order to, actually. Well, I mean, duct tape is a bad example because it can fix anything.
Duct tape
But
can't
you
fix
don't
anything. Come
get
on.
super glue. You don't get real adhesive from a piece of tape.
So
You,
A little more
you do
realistic.
with a little bit of heat, melt it
heat,
down.
Scrape it off.
that leads me to, a bunch of questions that I have in my gameplay. It's like, what is worth picking up? Are we going back to New Vegas style where you don't want to pick up all the junk because you can't break down these
Yes,
things
New
into
Vegas
components?
style.
Yeah.
So
Thank you.
don't pick up the
It-
junk unless you
But
know
it
specifically.
depends on what you're doing. If you're going to be doing
Right.
if you want to do crafting, then you absolutely pick up all the junk. Go to a research station. There's one on the frontier,
Mhm.
and and go through all of the research options and find out if because a lot of that stuff you need 3 antibiotics in order to unlock being able to craft
Yep.
some item. So go take all your junk, go to that, see what you can research.
And then sell
After you've
the
researched
leftovers?
everything you can, then throw it away.
Well, to be clear, this is, that's correct, but it's also, I don't want to confuse it for people. So there's resources and there's miscellaneous. They are two different categories. Resources can always be used. You should hold on to all your resources, keep them in your cargo on your ship at all times, stock it full. The research bench will pull from that. All of your crafting will pull from that. You don't need to have it on your person. Miscellaneous, the MISC category in there, that is all junk. And some of it you can use, like Ray's saying, for that.
Mhm.
The majority you won't. But for instance, if you're learning how to make better old world recipes, you're going to need meats and cheeses as part of your research for that. So that's how the crafting system works. And I don't want to get too deep into things tonight on this because crafting could be a whole discussion. But essentially, you unlock how to craft and do things via the research table. And from there, you can then apply it on the weapons bench and the spacesuit bench, which is essentially your armor bench. So it's very similar, a little bit different. The industrial workbench is kind of like a tinker's bench where you can make components on it that you can then use in recipes if you need to for crafting.
I've pretty much gone through, and if I want to research or make something, I've clicked on the search for this object, and it puts that little spyglass.
I love
thing up.
that.
And so I just pick up those stuff
Just like
actually need.
Yeah, junk is highly underrated or highly overrated.
Yeah.
Junk is junk again.
I don't pick it up, and I don't pick up anything miscellaneous that's worth less than 200 credits.
Okay.
Because you're only going to get 10% of it.
That was another question: is there a weight to value ratio of the stuff that you do pick up? Because in early Skyrim, I always had
You're
at
reading
least
my
1
mind.
to 10. Yeah.
Yep, you are reading my mind. So, in Skyrim and Fallout, we do the 1 to 10 ratio. Think of it like Fallout 3 or New Vegas, where this is how you're judging your junk. So in Starfield, it's 1 to 100. Okay, it's not 1 to 10 anymore. It's 1 to 100. So you get something that's 0.1 pounds, got to be worth at least 10 credits. Get something that's 1 pound, better worth at least 100 credits. Now, I like what Ray's saying. Like, he's probably even better than I am because maybe 1 to 200 would be the way to go. 1 pound, 200. But right now, 1 to 100 is what I'm using to judge, and it's helping me earn credits pretty well and avoid picking up all those pens and folders and space tape.
Lots of notebooks out there.
Oh my goodness, no. But you got to look at them all because some of them are, first edition Frankensteins, and you're getting 695 credits for it. And you're like, damn.
I did find some books. I'm like, oh, wait, I've read that one before.
There are a lot of books in the game. I'm enjoying that. It's funny. I was originally collecting all the books I could because I like to keep all the books and holotapes I get just for reference in the future, and keeping them all in my captain stash. And it turns out when you modify your ship, everything from your captain stash goes into the cargo and gets all mixed in anyway. So better to keep it separately in your lodge, or just understand that you're just going to keep everything in your cargo and learn how to upgrade your cargo.
You said holotapes. What is it actually called in this game?
I don't know. I call them holotapes.
Is it like a video
Data pads.
disc?
Data pads, yeah.
Data pads. Okay.
Okay, data pads. They're holotapes. This is Fallout feed, but it's funny. I'm getting a lot of interesting junk, but my ratio right now is 1 to 100, and it's making a difference on how cucumbered I get.
I like the cool persuasion game or whatever.
It's awesome.
I'm not sure that I quite have it down 100% how it works. Still trying to figure it out, but I think it makes more sense than like that circle thing in Oblivion or something. You know what I mean? Or
I mean, it's a lot like the one in Oblivion.
it is kind of, it does remind me
in
of it
some
but
ways.
yeah. But
You're
I think
kind
it's
of
cool.
boosting. You're trying to get a total of 4 points in 3 turns, essentially.
And the lock picking is awesome. I really like the digipick with the thing. That's really
Love
neat.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a lot of fun, and it's creative too.
Yeah, it's really cool. I
Yeah,
like that
especially when you get up into the higher levels, where you've got more options than you need. And so you've got to make sure you pick the right ones because you can get, all the way down to the last ring and discover that you used the one you needed.
Whoops.
On the first ring. And
I always start from the last one and find out what I want for those, and then work out before I start using them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
It's nice as you level up security and they start turning blue and stuff when you get there. But
So, what are the sort of extracurricular perks that you guys are taking that aren't part of like your original assigned 3?
Oh, there are so many to get into. I mean, there are so many good skills on this that you can get as you level up. And the amount of points, like the board is staggering. Okay, you have 5 sections and 5 at the top of each. That's 25 skills at level 1 you can get across the top, but they've all got 3 or 4 levels. So that's just on tier 1, and then tier 2, 3, 4, 5. There's so much to it. A character, I would say, will never get all of them, except for the fact that, as we know, there is New Game Plus where you can play the game after you're done. I don't, no spoilers here. We don't know exactly what happens, and I don't want to know. But I do know that, like with a lot of games, when you finish, you can start again. And instead of doing a new character, you can bring some of that over. So I think that mechanic is there to help you get more of the skills.
Okay.
But I mean, security, pilot is a great one. It depends what you want to do, right? Like if you want to build ships and fly ships, you're going to have piloting, and you need to have, spaceship design and engineering, stuff like that.
But if you're only going to fly the ships that you get for free,
just pilot.
You don't even need pilot.
I was going to say, if you because eventually you can get access to a B or C ship, right? Like if you happen to take one over or something.
Well, yeah, that's it. If you're going to take ships over, definitely take piloting. I think you only get A tiers as rewards, because they can't be sure that you're going to take piloting. If you get one as a reward, then then you wouldn't be able to fly it.
I've heard a number of people mention getting a ship that they then couldn't fly because of the fact that they weren't high enough level piloting to be able to fly it.
That's if you steal ships.
I think a couple of them might have been
ships.
I think a couple of them might have been based on like miscellaneous missions on planets too that they came across via exploration. But not the standard quest. That would make sense.
I also saw
probably the one that you should add to anyone that doesn't already have it is boost pack.
Yeah, I got boost pack.
100%.
Yeah.
Because a boost pack doesn't work unless you have that perk.
Yeah. Do you, like we mentioned lockpicking earlier, is lockpicking something you invest in so you can get into advanced doors and such? Or
that's security.
It depends. If the character's going to, especially if they're going to be dealing in contraband or, questing, in some of the more extensive, like I would never have been able to complete the Ryujin quest line if it hadn't have been for lockpicking.
And I noticed
it
that
doesn't do doors either. It's also hacking computers.
Yes, exactly. Hacking computers. That's the nice thing, because typically I never take hacking or lockpick,
but they
because it's
together.
Always, the game never quest blocks you if you don't have hacking or lockpick. But in this one, it has a big impact if you don't have security
Yeah,
in
getting
in
that is
some
good.
quest lines.
I noticed that they scan your ship for contraband cargo before you are allowed to enter some planets too.
On the major planets.
Yeah.
Yep, for the major cities. But of course, there are
Yeah.
ways to divest yourself of that. In fact, anyone playing the game right now who is stuck with contraband, who isn't part of a Thieves Guild faction, pirates, or anything otherwise,
Thieves Guild.
look for the Wolf system just
system.
north of Alpha Centauri. It's slightly north of Alpha Centauri, closer to Narian, and go to a place called the Den. It's on the second planet you get to there. It's a space station in UC space, but you can get to the Trade Authority right there and sell your contraband. So you'll be able to actually, go places again and not be stuck with your harvested organs in space.
Now you say north, and that's a two
Up and
that's a
slightly to the
2D
right.
that's a 2D thing. Ugh. And up, that doesn't even make sense in space either. There is no up.
Yeah.
Well, it does on the map. When you're looking at a map, a 2D representation.
So the map
Yeah.
does not rotate. The map always has a singular orientation to it.
Well, you can swivel it a little bit, but I think of it as a flat thing. In fact, I
Okay.
shared in the group in a couple places a really cool version with all the systems labeled.
I saw that.
I think that's
yeah.
important to have. Yeah, it makes a big difference to be able to know where things are. But I'm just taking a quick look at the skills real quick. I would say from the physical tree, stealth is the only one that's semi-necessary. The others are just niceties. Social persuasion is great. Commerce, decent. Gastronomy, scavenging theft, maybe not. Skills, ballistics. Ballistics is great. Some people maybe don't realize this, but that would affect all your ballistic weapons. So if you put points in ballistics, it's going to affect your pistols, your rifles,
and
your shotguns.
pistols. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Same with
Even-
lasers.
Yeah. Same with
Yeah.
lasers. Yep.
Yep. Even though they have, their own section there, so you can do, pistols and shotguns on top of it. It's multiplicative, I think would be the word for
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. And if you ever plan on stealing anything, make sure you take at least one level of sneak, because otherwise, even if there isn't anybody around, you can get caught stealing from a container if you don't
Thanks for
have
watching.
a level of sneak.
I find
It's
it interesting.
like what you love in New Vegas, Andrew, where
Yeah,
you get
yeah.
karma even if nobody's there watching.
That made no sense to me. I do like that. In order to do sneak, they make you do little checklists in order for you to get to the next level of it. Like right now, I'm working on killing 10 people or something like that with a sneak attack in order so I can get level 3 or 2. I don't remember where I am, but I like that they have little step up checklists that you have to do in order to make yourself
Use
yourself
the skill
available
to get better at it.
Exactly.
Yep.
I love that. It really is a combination between the Fallout and Skyrim mechanics.
Mhm.
You assign points to things, which makes sense, like you would on the Skyrim chart or on the on the Fallout perk chart. But you have to continue to use it like the classic Elder Scrolls thing in order to be able to level. So I love that combination. I think it's logical.
But
I
leveling,
mean, I say I love it. I'm sure it'll frustrate me occasionally, but
leveling is
Yeah.
based on XP earned, though, like Fallout, right?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah. So, and it, do use a little bit of planning because, at first, I mean, it seems like you level up every 3 seconds. But that changes drastically as you go along.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
if you've gotten yourself spread out on perks and you've got too many going, then you're going to level up, one of your, crucial skills, that you're counting on. You're going to level it up and you're not going to have a perk point to advance to the next level.
Mm-hmm.
And at that point, everything you do after that doesn't count towards the next level.
As far as the ability, like you're talking about, like
that
fighting, that's why
ability.
you mentioned when you go into the simulator, having a few banked, because otherwise, you can do some fighting, level up, but then you got to leave and come back later when you want to do more fighting to
When
level
you have
up
a-
if you don't have a couple perks.
Exactly. It's a slow
Yeah,
process.
You can be efficient or you can be inefficient, which I have been inefficient sometimes, which is fine. You
Yeah.
might
And
take
you
4 or
can-
5
you can
logs
do
before
that,
you level up
you
your
know.
security.
Yeah. It depends on on how focused you are on a particular skill.
But maximizing is good. I'm just gonna jump quickly into my gameplay if that's okay,
Yeah,
Andrew. So
by all
we can
means.
move on and then get back to it. So I did play Fallout 4. We'll talk about that in the quest section. I will say, I resented it slightly. Sorry, everybody. I resented having to play Fallout 4 instead of Starfield.
It almost felt like a chore
And-
board, didn't it?
I actually got 27 cores. I got 27 cores, even though you only need 20, because I was just angry. I was just angry going through the Galactic Zone, like fighting all these tough ass robots trying to kill me. I was like, no, I'm going to do it. Head down, just do it. Not even paying attention to how many I'm getting. Like, I'm going to get all the star cores I can in every building before I move on. And I did it. I got 27 of them, which was great. It's funny. I got all but 3 in the Galactic Zone. The ones I missed are back in the other areas where I didn't actually grab them. but I did play my Fallout 4. And besides that, it was mostly just Starfield. In Redfall, I finally finished the first half of the game. I beat the big boss for the first half, and so now I'm in the second, finally. Yay. Solior joined and played with myself and Charo last Sunday, so it was nice to have him along with us. In Starfield, obviously, last week, anyone who's listening to the show, I know it only came out 2 days ago because I was editing, and I'm always a little bit slower when I'm doing the editing, and there were some audio issues and stuff, but we took care of that, and so it's out now. So Ray and I were a little bit sleepy, and just early impressions that night.
You got the giggles.
By the end, we were very tired. But so I've done a whole lot since then, and I won't break it all down because we've had a lot of Starfield talk. We're going to keep on, probably if people have more questions. But things I did do, story missions, I did get a little bit into the story, but I'm still not that far. I still think focusing on the main story, at least for the first bit, is a good idea compared to most Fallout games because it does open stuff up, or Skyrim. It does open stuff up doing the first several quests till you get to Neon. And after that, it's up to you. A lot of people who are emphasizing the whole new game plus thing, like, oh, it's great to actually play through and do the main quest and then restart or whatever. A lot of them have actually come back and said, maybe we over exaggerated that. You know what I mean? Play how you want. It is still a Bethesda game, play how you want. So I'm trying to focus on the main quest a little, but I checked my quest log status yesterday. I was talking to Marigolds about it, which also so glad Marigolds is playing too. So we're able to, talk about, compare notes on the game again, because she'd been stepped away from Fallout for a little while doing other things. So I have done a total of like 14 quests, but it was only like 3 main mission quests and like 11 side quests and 28 activities. And I'm like, oh man, okay. Yeah, I'm doing a lot of the activities. And most of my faction quests. I don't even
understand the difference yet. I need to go in and look, and because I just noticed that menu the other day that they have that all broken down by main, side, activities, and all that. And I noticed a couple activities tick off, but I haven't like actively sought those out, so I need to look into those menus as well.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like, so there's like main, side, faction, missions, and activities. And activities and missions are kind of like the miscellaneous tab in Fallout, especially. I mean, sorry, in Skyrim especially. Filled up that miscellaneous tab. We all know about that and how easy it is to ignore after a while. But yeah, so I did a lot of that, but I'm still going slow. Did some exploration. One fun thing that happened, so you're playing through it and you feel like you're exploring and seeing everything. But I didn't in New Atlantis for the longest time investigate the well. Okay, one activity is investigate brownouts in the well. And I know, okay, the well is this other area. It's kind of below New Atlantis. It's below the city. So I'm exploring all the 4 regions and I'm doing quests and all that, and it's going great. But this is like 3-4 days ago. I'm finally like, maybe I should check out the well. And I'm assuming it's just, a small location. It's got like a chapel there. You know how it always happens. Like a chapel, maybe 1 or 2 things. I go down there and it's like a city under the city. The well is much larger than I expected, y'all. So yeah, don't neglect the well. Also, it's one of the coolest environments. It's probably only maybe half the size of New Atlantis, maybe 3/4. It's not as big as all of New Atlantis, but it's much larger than I expected. And there's a couple of fun quests down there, some great stores. It's just really interesting. So yeah, don't neglect the well. Story. Oh, another thing I did, of course, shipbuilding. Basically, I got to a point where I'm like, I need to figure out shipbuilding. That's what Ray and I were talking about it at the beginning a lot. I spent like 3 hours one night just kind of trying to figure out how it works. I will say It's a bit frustrating. I think the shipbuilder is more frustrating than intuitive, especially at first. You can flip items, but you can't rotate them. So, say you have a piece that goes horizontally side to side. You're like, I would love this to go vertically. Well, most of the time, it won't go vertically. It only ever goes horizontally. You can flip it. It's the case for a lot of things. You can't change the orientation. Like, you just want to rotate it 90 degrees. You can't. You can only flip. And that's the case for a lot of things. But as you explore, find new locations and level up, you get access to more ship parts. So you might find something that'll work there. So don't get too stuck on shipbuilding early on. I did discover, so I have also, Monday, Tuesday especially, I've actually filmed enough video to make like 5 videos about Starfield because I keep finding cool things I want to share. I love the museum. I do say start the UC Vanguard quest. I think that's really important. Everybody should. You may be like, I don't want to join the Vanguard. But you know what? Talk to the guy, start the quest. First, to get access to the simulator, like Ray's saying. But on the way there, you get a whole lot of the lore because you have to walk through a museum with displays. It'll talk to you. You get basically an info dump on what happened to Earth, the question everybody has. What happened to Earth? What are these factions? Who is the United Colonies? Who is the Freestar Collective? Who are House of Varun? What are these different planets? You get all of that going through the museum. It's excellent, bit by bit. And you can also see what a terramorph is, which anyone who's done the intro quest, you might have read about a terramorph if you read all the data paths, not holotapes. I'm getting with the program now. Terramorph. So I fought a terramorph. So if you there's a whole story there, but you can actually find a terramorph on the planet. But I fought a random terramorph on Alpha Centauri. There's a bit of history here. Terramorphs are kind of the death claws of Starfield, for those who don't know, and pretty frightening creatures. It was a good time, but yeah. So all the stuff for video,
and as you progress through that Vanguard quest, you'll be intimately involved with terramorphs.
Oh, I heard that there's a section I'm going to get to that'll have to deal with them. That's great. So yeah, you get some great armor for doing that. Like you have to finish the first mission for them before you get the armor, but there's a lot of good stuff. There's so much. Every location has so many people and side quests you can do and meet. You don't even realize. And just exploring, some people have mentioned that the game doesn't feel as conducive to exploring as some of the others because it's so fragmented with the map and different planets. And I get that. You know what I mean? You can do a lot of fast travel like you are a lot of time, and you're not even going into space, just fast travel from one location to another you've been to, which is cool. But if you do start exploring planets and moons, checking random spots, but also any points of interest on the map, there is a whole lot of actual content and stories here that the main quest will not put you into, from what I've heard from the people and what I've discovered myself. So it's well worth it. Anyway, I mentioned I've done a lot of stuff for video. Who knows if I'll get to them or not, but one I'm going to tell you guys right now, there is an unlimited credits trick I found. So you have people making videos about, ways you can glitch the game and cheat the game to get credits. Okay, that's the thing. This is not that. Perfectly legal way to make 3,000 credits a minute. So I'm going to tell you all right here. Listen to the show. So once you go to the lodge and join Constellation, you'll meet several people. Okay, there is a woman there, Noelle, who one of the things you can do if you actually exhaust your conversation is you can sell her organic components, organic resources. So you may not really go down that road. You might have seen it, but never actually looked at it or found out what it does. Well, she will pay full price for them. And if you go to one of the stores, especially UC Distribution, the one I sent you to the other day, Andrew, you go to the UC Distribution Center in the Commerce District across from Outland. You're there, you're buying a lot of organic components for, 3-4 caps a piece. Sorry, credits. Some of them, a few more, but just scroll up the list. Only the ones that are organic. So common organic, rare organic, uncommon organic, not the inorganic. Buy those resources. Then go back to her. You can, when you spend, say, 300-400 credits, and you can sell them to her for 3,000. She's got 3,500 in her inventory. So you sell to her, you get that. But if you stock up on them, you can then go to your room. You sleep for a day. 24 hours in Alpha Centauri time is 49 hours on UTC. Alpha Centauri days are 49 hours long for people who don't know. What's really neat about all the planets, they all have their own time scale, but it's all relative to UTC, which is, of course, Earth standard for us. But you sleep, then she's got another 3,000 in her inventory. You can sell again. So there you go. A way to make totally fair caps just by buying and trading. And you can easily get 15,000, 20,000 caps after you buy her out. And then, do it again a couple days later.
Caps
I'm
and
gonna keep saying
holotapes,
caps.
am I right? Yeah.
They start with C. But yeah, so
how's your stem pack?
I'm loving
Your
Starfield.
stem pack load. You got lots of stem packs.
Oh my
and
goodness,
rat away.
med packs, stim packs. They had to call it packs. I remapped all my keys to be like, Fallout 2. One thing I mentioned I wanted to do last week was remap the menu button to be where the Pip-Boy is.
Yes.
You can't.
Oh.
They fixed those ones.
They
the
protected a couple of them. Yeah.
Menu and view. Yeah, you can't change those. But everything else has
That bums
changed.
me out.
But yeah, so I'm loving Starfield. There's so much to get into, but we're not actually doing it. I'm not going to keep everybody going on it.
Yeah, there's
So,
a ton
Fallout
to get
4
into. Right.
and Starfield. It's awesome. I'm going to be playing this game for a long time, just like all the other Bethesda games, because I see so much potential. Not only do I think it may not be the best game Bethesda has made yet. Fallout fans, don't worry, Elder Scrolls fans, it may not be the best, but I think it has potential to be the best. I think as they add DLC and more stuff to it and mods come in, it maybe could be. It's awesome, and I'm loving it.
How will they update the game? Like, I don't know. Will it just be regular digital updates? Like we'll have to do a download every few weeks or something like that? How are they going to go about that as problems arise? Because, Bethesda game, glitch and
It'll
or
just
perk, right?
it'll most likely just be patches.
Just patches.
They'll do updates.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, we know the first DLC is going to be called Shattered Space because those of us who got early access, it says you also get access to the DLC, Shattered Space or what have you. So that's probably going to be faction oriented. But I'm imagining they're going to do large and small DLC like they did with Fallout 4, most likely. That's what Todd has said in interviews, that, varying types of DLC. So I think Fallout 4 as a roadmap would make sense. So maybe a couple building related, a couple large expansion related, a couple medium,
Right. But there's no settlement building or anything like that yet. Ship building is basically our
outpost building is like settlement building. It's completely full.
There's an I haven't experienced that at all yet.
We haven't even talked about it. No, it's a whole separate thing. Setting up outposts, putting people in charge of them. Oh yeah, it's a complete your full camp settlement system.
And my ship crew, like, can you assign people to be on your ship plus having one person follow you as like a companion, but you can assign a couple, 2 or 3 other people to just live on your ship? Is that correct?
Yeah. Depends on how many slots you have in your ship. So the Frontier starts out with 2.
Oh, 2. Okay.
But you can, when you build a ship or assumably when you get other ships, they'll have more crew slots. Mm-hmm. And so you can up the number of people in your on your crew.
I need to look into that.
Yeah,
I took the raise and I replaced the commander's cabin and the other cabin, and I've put the workshop in, and I think the control center, which gives you 4 slots to put people in, and then the workshop gives you all the workbenches.
Yeah.
Is that something you have to install? Ray, you mentioned that there's a research bench in the Frontier already. Like, I haven't even explored the ship that I'm flying around, really. Like, I just get in and out of the ship.
Ship doesn't take any research. There's perks that will unlock, certain types of parts, but there isn't anything you do in the research station that helps you with your ship building.
But it's already built on my ship somewhere. I just need to go find it. There's different rooms in the Frontier when you first get it. It's not just the cockpit.
Just 2. It's small.
It's a small ship.
Okay.
Yep, but then you can improve it and make it larger.
Oh,
but that's a separate thing. So
go ahead.
I wanted to answer your question about crew. In order to actually assign crew and have crew, you've got your friends in Constellation, and you'll add more as you recover and unlock them. There's also up to 20 named companions and a bunch more that aren't named that you can find and you can hire. Okay, and they can be with you as a regular companion and go with you, or you can assign them to crew. To get to crew, you open the menu, you go down to the ship in the lower left quadrant.
Mm-hmm.
When you click on that, you look at your ships, but you can hit a button to bring up your crew roster. And there, depending on your number of slots, you can assign them to your ship, like Ray is saying. So you get 2 to start, you can assign those too. But if you upgrade, once again, the cabins or the other things, like Jason was saying, or you upgrade your cockpit, some cockpits can even have 4, and then you can assign more people to it. Those are separate from your traveling companions. They will be with you in the ship, and they have bonuses that will affect your ship.
Sweet. And
I
there's so
highly
much more
recommend
to
hiring
explore.
Gideon. You can find Gideon at the viewport in New Atlantis. He does 2 ballistic and 2 missile, and is a great addition to any ship early on.
Sweet. Yeah, just so much more I have to look at. I have tunnel vision. I'm just playing the main quest line and not really exploring much at all. So I'm limiting my exposure. Definitely haven't tried to figure out many of the systems at all.
I've picked up one follower who's got 3 in shields, and I think 1 or 2 in general keeping the ship going.
What do you know the companion's name?
Not off the top of my head, but I got him from the Free States.
Okay, the Free States. I love it. Yes,
The Free
States
States.
Collective. Exactly.
I think he was from there.
Very cool.
That makes sense.
I can't remember the name off the top of my head.
Hey, Jess, was there any other gameplay stuff you wanted to get through?
No, that'll do it, Andrew.
All
What
right.
have you been up to?
Well, I was out of town and on the road. If you listen to last week's episode, we had all sorts of audio trouble. I figured out, if I would have just turned off my Bluetooth earpiece that I was using, I came in crystal clear after the show was over. And I was like, well, shit. I should have just, listened through my phone and spoken through my phone and not actually had my Bluetooth headset hooked up, because that was causing all the issues, evidently. So I had my phone with me and my little game controller, and when you're very familiar with the game, that is a fine setup. Like, I can go into 76 and knock out my scoreboard and do all that sort of stuff because I'm very intimately familiar with that game on a deep level that I'm just not with Starfield yet. I found trying to play Starfield on my little screen on my phone very frustrating, and like the type font was so small. Jess, I know you said you can make it bigger in the settings menu. I didn't even attempt it because I was just like, it's just such a small screen for a big world that I felt like it was just, I'm not absorbing the information correctly. I'm not seeing things it's just such a tiny 5-inch screen versus my 55-inch TV I play on. I just wasn't able to really see everything, and I don't know, I just found it not the best until I'm more familiar with the world. It's a difficult way to play. So I kind of set Starfield aside for the most part last weekend. But I mentioned that I had a devastating Deathclaw attack in my survival shelter and Fallout shelter. So I worked really hard all weekend long and playing Fallout shelter. So I was up at 60 some dwellers and had a horrible Deathclaw attack where they wiped out a third of my vault, and I went down into the 40s. So I was just concentrating really hard on getting my numbers back up. And after the weekend, I was up to 103 dwellers. So I almost doubled my my dweller intake, which gives you access to every room. So now I can build everything, and that gives you access to the nuclear generator and the Nuka-Cola bottle or whatever that's called. So,
Andrew?
Yeah.
Does that mean that you let some of the pregnant ladies finally have their children?
I let them have their children, and I got them pregnant again. You know what I mean? You got to cycle them back through. You can't let them be not pregnant too long, Jess, or they'll get used to it. You got to keep them constantly pregnant, or else they'll...
You can't have too many minutes of relief, or else, yeah.
You don't want their feet to stop swelling, because then they'll get used to, having their shoes fit again. You don't want that.
Yep.
So I got my population back up, well over what I was, which gave me the higher rooms, and that gave me the ability to... have a couple of, now I have 2 overseer teams going out on missions and stuff instead of just one. I'm really trying to get another Mr. Handy. I've got one Mr. Handy who I keep flip-flopping between the nuclear reactor and the Nuka-Cola bottler. The Nuka-Cola bottler basically combines your diner and your water purifier. It does both food and water, but instead of using agility and perception as the two stats, it then changes to endurance. So you use endurance, and then your power, nuclear power, is still strength. But I have those two rooms right next to each other, and I keep flipping the Mr. Handy back and forth between the two, which depending on whichever I need. So those are pretty much self-sufficient. I've got those maxed out and like really high level. I've got all the training rooms set up, so I've got all everyone's got a 10 in endurance and a 10 in strength, and those are the people I've concentrated all the high level dwellers in. And so I'm right now I set up a second mission team, quest team, just because the main goal right now is finding another Mr. Handy, getting through a quest line where I know a Mr. Handy will be one of the rewards, because once I get a Mr. Handy in the power and the bottle plant, then I can pretty much not worry about the three categories of the power, food, and water anymore, because they'll just be automated and they'll just go. They're deep enough into the vault where those people should never ever have to fight, a death claw or that sort of thing. I've got a weapon production room set up finally, so I've got a and my guys had been bringing back enough high-leveled weapons that I've finally got a bunch of junk jets and flamers and fine-tuned fusion rifles or whatever they're called. So lots of weapons that are doing 20+ damage and that sort of thing. So I finally feel like I'm gonna hit the plateau, and I think my next big goal will be get it up to the 200 dwellers, which is the max population cap there. So last weekend was very productive with a Fallout Shelter, and so I've just been playing a lot of that. But getting another Mr. Handy, getting a second Mr. Handy in the vault is the next big goal, which I'll be working on this week. So other than that, I got through my Fallout 4 quest, which we'll get here in just a minute or two. Other than that, lots of Starfield, right? And when I got home, I've been playing lots of Starfield all week. It was my last day at work at my old job earlier this week, so I have been playing lots of Starfield the last couple of days. And, playing a lot just leads to more questions more than anything. You know what I mean? You really start getting into it and but like each time I feel like I learn something, it just brings up two questions about, oh crap, now what?
It's the most complicated game they've made since Morrowind and Oblivion in a lot of ways. I know that there are so many systems still happening in Fallout 4 and Skyrim, obviously, but they were also simplified for what we could see and interact with. And in Starfield, they're like, nah, you can interact with all of them again. And it's quite a lot to take in.
Yeah, the one of the things that's interesting, though, I got through up to a quest where I have to find some anomaly based on the distortion of my scanner. You have your hand scanner, you pop out to find out information about stuff, but one of them, it does not give you a map marker to go directly to, which is all I've been doing. I've just been like popping up the main quest. Here's where you go do that, check mark, next item, please. So this one is like they don't hold your hand and lead you, but you have to find it based on the scanner distortion. And I got deep into some settlement building something, and I was like, this is not working. I've gone through this for like an hour now.
That scanner is rough. Others have had the problem too. It's funny because it's a lot like the Fallout frequency puzzle, where the frequency of beeps and strength is how you track it, but it doesn't really communicate that as well with the scanner, from what I understand.
And what I found out is that I'm just pointing in the right direction, but I'm not in the correct building. So I was like, oh, okay. So eventually, and then that caused me to go online to try to seek out a little bit of information, a little bit of help. And then I discovered that this is not happening at the same place for everyone who's playing. I didn't know that the main quest line can be randomly generated. So this quest is at a different location depending on just where it was assigned to you. Like, so when you get to this point in the storyline, Jess, you could be on a different fucking planet than the one I'm on. So going to find a guide for information on where is this is not going to be an easy thing for a guide to show you because it can happen at a bunch of random different spots. I'm like, oh, gee whiz.
Right. Yeah, a lot of quests have fixed specific location, but there are plenty that don't.
It's going to be hard to find.
Yeah, so I'm guessing that
information.
during that quest, I haven't done it yet on any of my characters.
Neither have I.
But they've disabled the Vans markers.
Yeah, because that was one thing I was going to bring up. It was like you bring up your scanner and it has like little arrows on the ground. I'm like, holy shit, clairvoyance Vans. This is awesome. But we always give Vans a hard time, but it is useful in some occasions. But yeah, they take away all of the indicators about what direction you're supposed to go. You're just supposed to buy your scanner just gets fuzzy around the edges and gets distorted. And when it's distorted, that's how you know you're going in the right direction. I assumed I was in the correct room in this building, but it turns out no, I was just pointed southwest. And so I just needed to go to southwest, but 2,000 meters away, it's like, oh, geez. So it wasn't indicating how close I was to something, just that I was pointed in the right direction. I just assumed I was in the right location, but I was not. And after reading, a little bit of articles, some Reddit threads and that sort of stuff, I figured out, oh my God, this is all randomly generated. This is going to be hard to look up where to go, what to do for some of these quests. So that was a new concept to me a little bit. So that's going to take some getting used to. I have not had to refuel my ship. Is that a thing? Do we have to create ship fuel?
No.
No, we have
You
You just have to have a fuel tank.
We have a nuclear generator in our ship or something? Is it a perpetual?
So you've got
you
fuel
got your reactor.
A reactor.
and
okay.
a reactor, and you need to have enough fuel to be able to make your jumps, but you don't need to refuel.
Okay.
Yeah, so you want to match the amount of fuel tanks that you have to the size of your grab jump drive.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm finding traveling is super confusing with the maps. Sometimes it's like you can jump or travel, and then other times I'm like clicking on different things. I'm like, why can't I travel? Why can't I jump? Why can't? And then landing, that took forever. Like, I'm trying to look for a land option. It's like, no, you're already on the planet. It's like, I'm not on the planet. I'm in my goddamn ship floating in space, and I can't find the land option. So, I find the menus incredibly confusing. They're not quick or intuitive for me yet.
Right.
But I'll get to it eventually, I know. But it's just like, God damn, why can't I land this fucking ship? I'm floating in space?
The maps are hard. I mean, there are basically 3 levels of the map. Which is complicated. You've got the looking at the planet. Well, technically 4 levels. You've got looking at the planet and the surface. You've got the looking at the planet not on the surface. You've got the system. Then you've got the galaxy.
Mm-hmm.
And most of the time it'll start you in the system or on the planet when you open it up. But yeah, so whenever you're in space and you want to go to a planet, you just look at it. You turn on your scanner and it'll, there'll be a pop-up saying press X to, open the planet map. You do that and then you can land anywhere. You can select a point of interest and click one of the little diamond point of interest and select land, or you can pick a landing location yourself manually, just anywhere on the planet's surface, and then click land. But you have to click it and select it first.
Yeah, and I'm just finding it trouble. Like, I just feel like I should be able to click land, but it's just not an option. I'm like, why can't I land? Docking? Holy shit, I destroyed my ship trying to land on dock the first time because I didn't know that you had to put your highlight on it and click A or whatever. Like, Jess, you mentioned how to loot a ship that you destroyed in space. They don't tell you that you have to highlight it and click on A before you can see the inventory. They also don't tell you how to fucking dock either. Like, I was banging the shit out of my shield on my ship, and I was like, why is my ship getting destroyed?
There's the quickest pop-up. There's the quickest pop-up, but I got to say the pop-ups don't last long enough. And when you get credits from a mission, that doesn't last long enough. Ray did mention it last week, but I'll reiterate again. If there are any instructions you're finding that I don't know how to do this. How do I do this? Open your menu to the big menu, then hit it again to go to the system menu, where you can save, load, all that. There's a section labeled help. Every menu has a section labeled help. Most of the time, that's just going to take you to Xbox support or PC help or something online. This is actually your tutorial codex. it explains all the different systems in the game in that help menu. They should have labeled it, dictionary or codex or wiki or anything but help.
Instead of
Labeling it
help.
help, nobody knows that that's there. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm
It's a good section.
I'm still just getting used because I didn't play a lot last weekend, so I've only been like 2 or 3 days of actually really trying to roll up the sleeves and get in elbow deep here. But I had some people asking online, like, is it possible to play on old Xbox? How's this Game Pass stuff work? I've heard Sergio say that he can play it on a Series S by loading it on his X and streaming it to his S, and so Jess, I just wonder if you could you could just just briefly describe how the cloud works, the Game Pass, the Series S, because I tried to load it on my Xbox upstairs on my old Xbox, and it just wouldn't load at all. So I was like, well, what the fuck is going on? I didn't realize that it was only for Series X. But like Sergio says, he can stream it to his. So just tell me how this Game Pass and the cloud and S and X and all that works.
So, okay, just to go over it briefly, because it can be a little complicated until people have done it a bit. So, if you are a Game Pass Ultimate member, okay, so Game Pass gives you access to games, and with Xbox Live you get Ultimate, but you also get access to xCloud. What xCloud is, this is not remote play. So when you do remote play on your phone or other things, you're essentially streaming from your personal Xbox onto your phone or tablet or another computer. Okay, that's remote play. This is different than cloud play. So in order to use xCloud or cloud play, you have to have a Game Pass Ultimate membership. If you have Game Pass Ultimate, you open your Game Pass app and you can just select Play on Cloud for any game available via xCloud. So what you are doing now, you are playing it streaming from the Xbox servers, not your personal Xbox, not anybody's Xbox. It's actually in the cloud. This is a streaming thing like Netflix. So like with Netflix, you can watch a movie that's stored on the Netflix servers. Here, you're playing a game stored on the Xbox servers. So 2 different things. Remote play is a game you have to own. xCloud is any game available in Game Pass that's cloud enabled, you can play. So if a person opens the Game Pass app on the older Xbox or on their tablet, and they can go through, they can browse, they can select play from cloud, they can play it on that system, and you're not actually running it on your Xbox One X or One S. You are playing a streamed version. It's very cool, and it's funny. I was talking to Jen the other day, because Jen is doing this now for some games that are available on Game Pass to play elsewhere, and it's nice to know that you can play games you don't even own just through the subscription service on any device.
Yeah.
So it's a good way to play. The other thing to know about this, you're technically playing the Xbox version of the game when you play via xCloud. So if you're playing on your tablet, or even you can even play xCloud on your PC, by the way, you could stream it to your PC from xCloud. You're playing the Xbox version. So games like 76, where you can only play with PC players on your PC, if you play the streamed version, you're now playing with Xbox players because you're playing the Xbox version of it.
Oh, there you go. I saw Ray laugh at someone who's like, why would you want to push your...
I mean, of course.
I was just teasing Jerry.
Is there a step up in graphics and such for the PC version?
A little bit.
Yeah.
Probably a little bit. But I mean, because it's only a series console, maybe not as much. I mean, of course there is. Yeah. I mean, of course. It depends on your equipment, right? So if Ray hadn't upgraded, well, he's not a good example because he already had a powerful PC. But if you're a lot of people who hadn't upgraded their PC, it might not be quite as good as the Series X. But top quality PC, definitely getting the best graphics.
All right, and a couple of quick fire questions here. Max level cap in the game? No?
None.
Does the game continue after completing the main quest?
Yes.
Yes, it does.
When you finish the main quest, you have an option to restart or continue.
And I have my sort of, what's it called, a cutter or something? The resource, like geology drill or something. I noticed that does not require ammo. It like recharges itself. If you're a laser pistol, laser rifle person, is there ammo that you have to buy and load?
You can use the cutter as a weapon, but it's not a good weapon. No, your cutter will always be renewable, but regular laser weapons use cells.
They do. Okay, there is ammo for other energy weapons. Okay, and
as far as I know, right?
There is.
Yeah,
the 3K one, 1.5K.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And my last. Sorry, go ahead.
So on the cutter, so it automatically pops up when you have your scanner open.
That's a good tip.
So if you scan something, you can use your cutter.
Oh, nice.
You never need to pull it out.
As long as you have it in your inventory. If it's
Yes.
not in your inventory,
You can't use it.
it will not come up.
Have you
And
found
there's
yourself
some-
on a planet ready to mine stuff completely cutterless? Because I sure have.
No. I
Oh,
have
you're
found
smart.
myself in a secure facility, and the easiest way out is to cut the pins on the emergency door to be able to escape, but I didn't have my cutter
Oh no!
because I wanted to collect one more weapon.
I think
on
you
my
can use a
way
ballistic
through.
weapon to shoot out the pins too, but you have to have good
I've
aim,
definitely
I
used
think.
my knife to cut those pins. I discovered one of those doors for the first time
nice.
earlier today, and I cut it with my knife. You're supposed to use your cutter? I didn't even realize that would be a thing. Crazy.
Yeah.
Do you spend time mining a lot for, like, there's all the different minerals and deposits and such?
Prax, my science character, did.
Okay.
Nobody else does.
Yeah, it depends.
It's not something you need to
The
spend
truth is
time on? Okay.
You can buy a lot of resources, like I was saying, from certain places. You can buy resources.
Mhm.
You can mine some, but I would say do it the most when you actually like get a random encounter that is out of mine or something. Because if you're exploring, you'll find them. From what I've heard from other people, you can get enough resources just from the occasional purchase and what you find to do a lot of the game, unless you get seriously into building. Also, outposts, you can set up resource collectors like in Fallout. And so you're going to be, collecting resources there to build up.
Oh, nice.
Most important right now is kind of aluminum. Aluminum and iron are very important for building and stuff.
Yeah,
There's
and if you happen into the cave to pick up an artifact and you don't have a cutter, there is probably one close by.
Oh, there'll just be one sitting there. That's good. Last question here. I don't understand why they tell me two different times, other than if I take a nap and I'm light years away from my origin, it's going to be 2-week trip for me, but I'm going to come back, and is everyone going to be aged 64 years or anything like that?
No.
Because I know
separate times deal
space-time
with
has weird relationships. You know what I mean? Time
This is just
really
day-night
weird.
cycle. This is only day-night cycle. So a day on Earth is 24 hours, but a day on some planets might be 30 hours or 40 hours. So you're talking about when the sun rises and sets and all that, but it'll tell you relative to general time, UTC.
But it's not like I'm going to be Ripley in Aliens 2, and I've been gone for 2 weeks, but she comes back and everyone else aged, like her daughter is dead because she's an old woman. You know what I mean? Like that sort of shit's not going to happen, right?
Yeah, and it's kind of clever. So the CVS, CJ's, they call it CJ's 48 hour. So instead of the 24-hour store, it's a 48-hour store.
Yep. Which I just thought was great. And like 7-Eleven, but it's like however many days, 48. Mm-hmm.
That's funny.
Yeah, well, right. Lee says 49 hours. I thought, technically 49. It's like 48 point something. So when you do the timer, it'll say 49 a lot of the time.
Well, wait a second. Who said that?
If you're on New Atlantis doing 1 hour of Earth time.
Who said that it was 49 hours, Jess?
Lee. Lee's leading.
Thanks for getting specific, Lee.
He's good at that. He's good at making sure we get things clear. I appreciate it always.
I just had to play that. We haven't played that drop in a few weeks. It's been
a few weeks. Last week we
without
couldn't
Lee.
go. By the way, you also quickly at the beginning of stuff, you mentioned, finished old job, getting ready for new. I did shout out the new job last week when you couldn't actually talk. I couldn't remember if you'd announced it on the show or not, but
no,
so,
I don't think I
shout
had
out in
mentioned
person.
it yet, and I haven't actually made like a social media post so my family and friends could know about it, or so no one really knows. My podcast friends have found out before, like my close family. So, I don't know why, but I'm sort of keeping it close to the vest. But I guess now I'm not anymore. Oh, and I got a Fallout Feed themed license plate coming on the way. I'm really excited about that.
Amazing.
I ordered a new magnet for the back of my car of the the Fallout Feed show symbol, because if you remember a couple years ago, Will drove up to Indiana and stole my magnet and put it on his car, so I had to get that replacement. So that just showed up today. And so I'm excited to deck my car out in a little bit of a Fallout regalia. So that was my gameplay, and the show's probably just about over here. We need to get into some roundtable quests, and maybe we're not going to get in super deep into them this time just because we have gone on for a long time on Starfield. So
Starfield feed for an hour and a half. We got some Fallout in there too, but yeah.
All right, so we're about 2 hours in, so we'll need to be quick about our roundtable quests. But why don't we go ahead and roll into these? Hey, Jason, have you played all of the Nuka World stuff before?
No, Nuka World's probably one of the ones that I haven't done.
Okay.
Out of Fallout 4 stuff.
Yeah.
Nice.
Well, it's lots of fun. So our 2 quests here are Dry Rock Gulch, which is sort of like the Western-themed section of the park, and Galaxy Zone, which is appropriate for this time because we're been doing so much in the Starfield. But we'll get into some cowboy stuff and some astronaut stuff here. So Jess, why don't you tell us a little bit about your adventures in Dry Rock Gulch?
Well, hooey, partner. You get into Dry Rock Gulch and you run up to one of them robots there, one of them sheriffs, and he's got himself some mighty trouble. Because you see, there are some varmints here in the Gulch, and he's going to tell you all about them and that you got to do what you can do to get to Mad Mulligan's mine. Now, if you have a robotic expert, which I did put points into, you can actually simplify this a lot. So I don't know if any of you have it, but essentially he's doing the whole spiel and you can do the spiel back at him. But at any point during the conversation, you can hack in to be like, okay, let's make this more effective. What are you actually asking? And if you do that, he'll tell you, oh, you actually need to go to visit these 3 other protectrons and do each of their tasks to get a piece of the code for the safe. Then when you go to the safe, you'll get the key to the mine, and then you can go into the mine, and there are creatures in there. But if you don't do that, you get the long way around telling you to visit these 3 people and, rope them rascals and all that. So
the first one, there's one of them that's you need to find the horsies, which I thought those was my favorite. You need to go find a couple of giddy up buttercups to put in a corral, which was cute. Another one was deliver drinks.
That's the giddy up kid.
Deliver drinks to dead people laying at tables and such. I forget what was what was the third one. I forget what the third one is.
One-eyed Ike needs a quick draw challenge. Right?
Oh, right, yeah. You're doing the high noon showdown or whatever. Right.
Which he didn't specify that you have to use the pistol that he gives you. So I disassembled him with the Ripper.
Are you supposed to kill him? Because are you just supposed to so you can shoot first and then he's like, okay, good job? Because I totally took him out and killed him. Are you supposed to just take one shot and then see who draw first? I'm like, okay, that's great. Or are you actually supposed to kill him?
No, you have to shoot him.
Okay,
if I remember correctly.
Shoot him. I don't think you have to kill him. I think you just have to shoot him. I did hack him. I didn't want to have the shootout.
Oh, smart.
So I used robotics expert. And you get that.
I've got it. I just ripped him.
Yeah, ripped him a new one, partner. Nice. Quick note: Sillior mentions in chat, hearing Courtney Taylor put on a Southern accent was amazing. So he played along and everything just to hear the Soul Survivor speak with a Western accent, and yeah, it was pretty great. I enjoy playing along. This is also where if you have the Shroud outfit, you can maybe role play a Shroud for this too, which I didn't do, but I think there are some options to do that.
I did. I went all the way back to the mainland and did that the week before because Leon was saying, hey, someone needs to go do that. So I finally did go complete the Silver Shroud stuff just so I could wear the Silver Shroud costume to talk to the sheriff there. And it's not a whole lot of conversation, but it does he is very impressed that a real superhero has come to help out the Gulch. So it is pretty fun conversation if you like to run through that. If you happen to have it on, you go ahead and toss it on before we run in the quest. It's fun.
That's brilliant. So yeah, you shoot the one guy, One-Eyed Ike. You serve drinks for people for Doc Phosphate, or you hack him so you don't have to wander all over and kill bloodworms. And then for the Giddy Up Kid, you got to find giddy up buttercups that have fled the corral and need lassoed and corralled back in. That one I didn't hack because I wanted to find giddy up buttercups, which I regretted because as you wander the park, you're going to fight a lot of bloodworms. And these things are nasty. They're gross. They're nasty. They're like dune sandworms, but like twice as wriggly and just like, ew. And then you get bit by a glowing one. You're like, ew, I couldn't even, to be fair. I did not enjoy them. I killed them with prejudice.
Got some sort
but
of
after you get all
disease.
3, you then get the codes to open a safe. Now, to get to the safe, you got to kind of go around to the theater area here.
Mm-hmm.
And in that theater is full of ants.
Oh, God.
Yeah, do you remember those?
Yeah.
Anybody have any trouble with them?
Some flying
They
ants.
gave me a lot of trouble
Some
because they're in the
ground
deep
ants.
grass.
Yeah.
You know, there's grass growing up in the middle of this amphitheater, and so I mean, they were getting
can't
the
see
drop
'em.
on me left and right.
Yeah.
I found them pretty tough too, but it was the flying ones that gave me the most trouble. Like
It's always
the
those
regular
fucking
ants I could take
flying
out in a couple hits, but the flying ants, it was like they were armored or something. They absorb the bullets hard. So luckily between myself, dog meat, and Curie, which by the way, may I just say, I've been adventuring with Curie as she's my assigned romance. I've got up to 98% affinity now. So we are right on the edge of finally having our romance blossoming. I'm sensing it coming. She's gotten sweeter and sweeter. But the way that she talks to enemies is just hilarious. I had forgotten because I don't play with her that much. And things like, just like, you are being very impolite, or how rude. Like while she's fighting, just at the enemies, like attacking, it's hilarious.
Well, pardon me.
And then
May
sometimes
I
she gets
kill
like
you
very
now?
bloodthirsty. Yeah, exactly. Sometimes they're bloodthirsty. Others, they're just like totally cute.
That's great.
It's a good time. But they took the ants out. And so then you get in there and you get the key to the mine. Mad Mulligan's mine is actually really cool. It's a coaster. It's a coaster.
Yes.
And so you unlock the door and you go in and you got to find the source of the bloodworms, which, as anyone could predict, bloodworms come from a big mama bloodworm. So just like mole radish or whatever, you got a bloodworm queen.
Yes. A larger version of the bloodworms.
Yep.
Yep.
So, you walk your way through the exhibit, you get to there. The bloodworm queen is in a big old mine pit.
Mm-hmm.
And you can take her and a bunch of her friends out. Oh, can I also say, and I'm sure y'all saw this too, the Brahmin, the wriggling, squiggling Brahmin.
Oh, yes.
So gross.
Don't step too
So
close
gross.
to
Thank
it.
you.
The
way they just explode.
Popping out.
Ugh. Yeah. Don't
Yeah.
get too close.
So that's nasty. But you take them all out, and once you do that, then you just got to go back and let them know you've destroyed the source of the bloodworms.
Mhm.
But you can keep cleaning up the rest of the bloodworms too, which I did just because I felt like I didn't want to leave the park half full of bloodworms. So I did kill a lot of them. There's also, you can get the medallions here. So we talked about medallions before. I know some people weren't doing them. I am trying to get all the medallions for the park. And the medallion here is in a little store up front. You have to you jump off the bridge going into the mine as you wind through to the carts. Place you can get under the bridge. And then through a little door, and that'll take you into the area where you can then get your medallion and undo the chains to get out. You go back to the kid, and he's wicked proud of you, and you keep playing along, you get a gold star and all that.
Beautiful. I found this
which
to be
game did y'all put in the park?
I'm sticking with the disciples. They've gotten every section.
Wow. So if the disciples actually like you, have they changed how they talk? Like, what do they say to you?
I haven't talked to one disciple since I have given them the parks. The one time I got the notification, hey, go collect the treasure that I did it once, and I was like, well, that wasn't even worth the walk back over there. Like, so I still have the other sections of the park that still say a miscellaneous quest, go claim your
I got my
reward.
I got my caps loot from each one of them. Like I mentioned before that because the pack had the most for a while, they're like, yeah, everybody knows the pack's alpha now, and they were all full themselves top dog.
Oh, really?
At this point, the pack and operators are equal. They both got 2, and then I gave the disciples the Gulch. But they still hate me, and they're the ones whenever I'm near the disciples, because you got to walk by them. Just walking through Nuka World, you walk by a lot of
because
them.
they're right next to Fistop.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they'll say things about how the only reason I'm not dead is because of Nissa, and she's got more restraint than they do, and they want to take me out. Like they're pretty angry.
Like, hey guys,
I
I'm
gave
the
them the Gulch,
overboss
though,
here,
because-
dicks.
I figured they'd be into bloodworms, gross stuff like
Oh
that.
yeah, that actually is pretty fitting. I found this to be the quickest, the shortest of all the park sections. I breezed through this in 20 minutes compared to like 8 hours of the Nuka Zone or not the Galaxy Zone.
Yeah.
Oh Lord.
It was about equal to the bottling plant for me. I found this to be the quickest though too.
Yeah.
Yep.
Ray, anything you want to mention about Dry Art Gulch?
No, this is really the only place in the park that I've run into problems with the game locking up.
Oh no, yeah, you mentioned you had an issue with that.
It happened a couple of times, and I was worried that that something had gotten wrecked in my game. But fortunately, I got through it, got out, and didn't have any more problems.
That's good. So on to the Galaxy Zone then. What'd you get into over there?
Oh, trouble.
Good times, right? Good times.
You get used to the robots in the Commonwealth, and you're like, oh, okay, they're a little bit tough, but nothing you can't handle. And then you meet these motherfuckers.
Yeah, I've got a really good troubleshooting weapon. It's a kitted out plasma sniper.
Oh,
but
that's nice and smart for you to bring one.
So if I could see him, they were dead. The trick is
the assault
they're
rounds.
Hiding in every corner.
They're around the corners,
inside little alcoves.
The Nukatrons
look like turrets.
The Nukatrons look like a trash can, so you don't notice them when there's a row of trash cans there, and there's one just sort of slumped
and they're
over.
all they're hunkered over, just not moving. But as soon as you pass by them, all of a sudden they're
pew pew
coating you in radioactive
squirt blue goo or like red nonsense all over your. Yeah, it's gross. I mean, the Nukatron Sentinels are tough, but I found the sorry, I'm just suddenly forgetting the Assaultrons, but whatever they're called. I mean, Eliminators.
No idea.
What do they call the Assaultrons? The Assault
Dominators. I don't remember. Something like that.
Yeah, there's Eliminators and Dominators and all that, but they have a special because they've all got Nukatron or all that. It's funny. The Sentry bots are what they're called, like Sentry Stars, I think is what they get called here. Anyway, the Assaultrons are so rough in some locations.
Novatron, maybe? No.
Yes, Novatron. Thank you. Thank you. Because you can't get a fix on them when they're hidden. And it is so tough. You're in such close quarters here in some of these little alleyways and places they jump out at you. Especially in the, I think, Nuka Galaxy. I don't know if it's Nuka Galaxy or Vault-Tec Among the Stars. Maybe it's Among the Stars. But there's one place you get into an office. And there's a Novatron right on top of you. The hardest one I found. And she took me out twice before I was able to get by her. It's just really, really tough.
I think it's the Nuka Galaxy one where they have the like UFOs and stuff with the turrets underneath the side of them that you can't really see, and then they just sort of blast off. Those are really tough. I died a few times in that room.
Yeah, the alien turrets
and that
were
last
rough.
room has got like 6 of those spaceships hanging from the ceiling.
Yeah,
with lasers underneath them.
Yeah.
Did you notice that you can't target laser turrets with bats until they actually detect you too?
Really?
Like, a lot of them here. When you're in the walkway, like the galactic walkway, and then some of the ones on the underside of the UFOs, you could VATS them and you could shoot them. They wouldn't do any damage until they saw you. So I could put like 10 bullets into something without doing damage until it started shooting me.
That's unfair. Come on.
Yeah.
No me gusta.
I know, exactly. No me gusta.
I
but yeah,
meant to take more pictures through there because there's lots of neat, colorful, dramatic, scenes set up through back in there. The UFOs.
But you're so busy dying.
Yeah,
it's hard to
forgot to take pictures and too busy reloading the whole damn time.
I might have been angry gathering cores, but I did stop for pictures a few times.
Well, good.
Because I mean, Galactic Zone, I wanted to do a little tweet today that I did do. Like, I'm going to tell my kids this is Starfield with a bunch of pictures from like the Galactic Zone, UFOs and stuff. Dog meat flying a UFO. And I did a little video in Vault-Tec Among the Stars.
Dog meat flying UFO. Gosh, you got to give me that picture. It's going to make that some cover art. That sounds great.
He's riding on it. It's adorable. So
Beaut.
I really enjoyed the Galactic Zone. I'm here complaining because it is tough and they do ambush you. You first you make your way to the center and let's tell the story real quick because I know we're going quicker. But outside you find a battle site. Tiana has a note, and that's when you learn about Tiana and her father and their crew had been going back and forth between the main Nuka World proper and this area, and they were kind of refurbishing it and setting it up. Tiana was they were gathering parts, but then they were partly living here, and Tiana was actually fixing the star control device. There's a bit more to it. Long story short, the reason why you're looking for star cores is because there were some on site, but they actually took and sold a number of them because they were redundant. So there weren't as many as needed in the actual primary star control area. So when the time came where they needed to activate it because the raiders were attacking, cultures, gangs were attacking for defense, her father actually took, and even though Tiana was working setting up, said, wait, we need to get more star cores in order to make it functional. Her father was like, what's the worst that could happen? You'll find his body. His name is Kendall. His body's there. He did activate the defense thing before there were enough star cores. And that's why, of course, all the robots are super angry because defensive mode only works when they have enough to control them. So she was trying to gather enough cores. And now our job here, as we get here to this location, is to gather enough cores that we can shut down defensive mode and allow the raider gang to move in.
Beautiful. And they're annoying to
in
find.
Order to do that,
everywhere.
20.
You get it in, and you get them in groups. So for every 5 cores you get, you can shut down one kind of thing.
If you use the computer, which I didn't do, I was too busy getting. I had totally forgotten.
Collecting them all first. To explain that a little more in detail. What do you mean by thing, Ray?
Well, so you get 5 cores. You slap them in. You go to the computer, and it gives you a list of things that you can deactivate.
Does it matter where you place the cores along the computer system? No. Okay.
So the first group, it gives you the iBots, the Protectrons, and I think
the Galactrons.
The ones that shoot the blue stuff at you. So I shut those off.
Mm-hmm.
And then you go get 5 more, bring them back, and then I could turn off the Protectrons. And then you bring 5 more back. And at that time, I was thinking about doing turrets because they were such a pain in the butt, but I had just done the Galactic Zone. So I had already taken out all those turrets. And so I went for the Assaultrons.
Smart.
Those are, if I could have shut them down, that would have been so good. Mr. Frothies are the little blue ones.
Oh, yeah.
The Mr. Frothies are the ones with the fans that blow the radioactive crap at you. And I had this one guy came up on me, and before I could even, get my aim, he had soaked me so thoroughly in radiation that I died right then.
Oh, no. Are they Mr. Frothy?
Dangerous.
Are they Mr. Handies with radiation fans? Basically, is that what you?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yep.
And the interesting, Nukatron body. You get all kinds of cool parts here, though. Like as you go through and you find the bits, you unlock robot mods like you would use for Automatron, like we did earlier. But of course, when you finish the whole thing, you actually unlock all the mods anyway.
I did notice it. I kept getting notifications about new robot parts I could build. Yeah.
So, and then when you get to 20, then you can shut everything down.
Which I didn't remember. I was just going for as many as I could possibly get and then putting them all in.
Yeah. So once you get 20, which I had gotten 19 and had to go back to Fizz Top, and then thought, oh wait, there's one inside the marketplace.
Yeah, there's one on the table.
So I ran inside the marketplace, picked up the one in there, ran back, shut everything down.
Is there one in each section of the park? Is there one in Oswald and the Kitty Kingdom, one in Cito's Safari, one in the Western Gulch,
Yep, there are 5 out there. You got the
There's 5
Nuka
and
Cave,
one-
Nuka Town Market.
One in the market.
There's one
okay.
in the Junkyard, one in Gulch, and one in World of Refreshment. So not in each park, but there are 5 scattered.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think Cedo has one.
And there's one that you can't access until way after you have to go power up the park.
Unless you have a
haven't-
jetpack.
I haven't gone to power up the park yet. I haven't done that part yet.
You won't be able to. You power up the park after you do all this and then do open season or power play.
Yeah.
But after you finish all this, so I mean, we'll get to that. But I have to say, I really forgot. I mean, I didn't forget. I knew I enjoyed it, but this is probably my favorite park. Kitty Kingdom's fun.
Mm-hmm.
Why is it the ones that hurt us the most are the funnest? I don't know. But Kitty Kingdom is fun.
Most memorable.
And
Yeah,
this-
I mean, there's certainly a sense of accomplishment once you
Yeah.
once you get through.
It's just got such a cool vibe. I love the displays. I like the whole layout of the park. It's a really cool maze. Like finding your way
And
through here.
I don't think we would be quite as enthusiastic about this if we didn't have quick save mods.
Oh, yeah. No, that makes a huge difference. I never had to go back more than 5 to 8 minutes,
Yeah.
because of the way I'm doing it. Thank goodness.
Yeah. I mean, I thought about that a couple of times. I'm like, holy shit! If I hadn't
Yeah.
had a chance to save, I would have
Yeah.
definitely been in bad shape.
It would be impossible for me to do this on survival mode, I think, without a quick save.
It does make a big difference. Yeah. I mean, when you lose an hour, because it still happens. We still at times lose half an hour, because we haven't thought to save.
Yeah.
But in a place like Galactic Zone, where
Not
you
here.
know you're probably going to die.
I was saving every 3 steps.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Don't do,
made it
don't
through
do
that
it here. Don't do
that
it here.
doorway. I'm good. Quick save.
Mhm. I took down 2 more laser turrets. I mean, those laser turrets just unload on you.
Yeah.
So the Among the Stars, just let's talk the exhibits real quick. Among the Stars is really cool. That's essentially, Vault-Tec talking about making a colony, which, by the way, colony on Arcturus Prime is the idea. The surface is unhospitable, but of course, Vault-Tec, you can build a, colony below ground. Vault-Tec doing their thing. And Arcturus is, a real system. And in Starfield, you can get there. Arcturus, I believe, has 4 planets. Arcturus 2 is colonizable, habitable. So I'm going to just check and
my
make sure there's no
God.
Vault-Tec Easter eggs on all these
There's a Vault-Tec
planets.
fucking shelter there. Oh, no.
Can you imagine? Because it says in the year, I think it's 2290 or maybe 2190 in this. But anyway, I thought it was just really kind of a fun reference. Because
Wow.
if you think about it, they were starting Starfield pre-prep. Nuka World DLC was the last DLC they did for 4, and they said that while they were wrapping Fallout 4 DLC, they were starting the pre-production for Starfield. So yeah, they were doing this at the same time as that, which I think that's neat.
That's
So
sweet.
you got
What-
that. You got the Robco Battle Zone, which was of course battle bots.
That
You've
one was
got the
really fun. I
Interstellar
like that
Theater.
one. It's a small, tight little area, but the battle of the robots at the end there is really fun.
Yeah, but of course
It was
you're in
fun
there.
until
It
that one
triggers when you
glitched
walk
on
in.
me.
Oh no, it glitched on
Ooh,
you.
what happened?
So I went in and made it through all the battles because it was easy because I've got sneak 4 or 5, and so I would wait until everything cleared out and then I'd clear the last one. Got through all those. I had already shut off the projectrons, so the last guy was sitting inside of his door. The door's open, he's just sitting there
Just
inert because I shut
slumped
him
over.
off. So I just walked up, blew him up. Okay, quest's over. Went down the stairs and the assaultron got me.
Oops.
So I'm like, crap. Okay, all over again. So I went back in, because it took me back. I didn't save after the the battle was over.
Mhm.
Smart. Yeah.
And so, the battle begins. All the doors lock, and the iBots come racing out. But the projectrons that were supposed to come up through the floor, gone. They
Uh-oh.
weren't there.
If you
no.
if you don't kill them, it doesn't
So
progress.
even though I killed all of the iBots, it wouldn't advance to the next level.
Oh no.
So I reloaded again and again and again, same thing over and over again.
Oh no.
And so finally I'm like, okay, this thing is just glitched out. I can't finish it. The battle music is playing, super loud and everything. And so I ended up turning off collision to walk through the door, turned it back on, and then went back downstairs and fought the robots down there, got my star cores, and left the building. But from then on, from that point for the rest of the game, that battle music is playing.
No matter where you are?
Please tell me when you load back in, it won't still be there.
Nope. When you go to the Commonwealth,
No.
it's still playing.
No.
When you come back, it's still playing.
Oh my god.
It never stops.
Hopefully you
You
like
have
that
exited
song.
and
Oh,
reloaded?
geez.
I have, yep. I left the game, came back, still there.
Oh no.
Oh, are you going to go back and redo it, or are you going to just turn off the music for the rest of the time you play?
Yeah, the music is off now.
Wow.
Goodness. That's incredible. What a horrible, horrible glitch to have. Oh, gosh.
You deserve it for turning off collision, Ray. You earned it.
But
Well,
That-
I had to
that
because the
fight
game
is
was
tough.
glitched. I mean, if
that fight,
even still, I mean, if it, I could not leave that room.
oh, goodness.
Yeah, because the doors are locked. There's no way to get out. Once they close.
Yeah.
So I mean, I would have just have to completely blow off that, that part of the park, and reload it, save somewhere else down the line,
Yeah.
ahead of time, and have been out, 6 Star Cores.
Yeah, did it let you end up fighting the Novatrons and the Sentry Bot?
Yeah, the ones downstairs. Well, the Sentry Bot was already turned off.
Mhm.
So he was just sitting there inert. But I
That's
hadn't
nice.
turned off the Assaultrons yet. At that point, really wishing I had.
Don't blame you. Yeah, they're rough. When you
But
get 2 of
I
them,
was,
Yeah.
I
Spoilers.
was, well, I was a little bit, cocky because I had taken the 2 out that are out front. I had taken them out with a sniper shot. So they were not even active when they died. But the one downstairs, they're super tricky because they're deactivated.
well, and I
and
shot them all.
so-
Like, I shot everything I could see, but it still gave them to me during the fight. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I still had some during the fight to face. So,
Well, in the battle zone, they're behind their own doors. So the
Mhm.
ones that are out in the lobby, those
Those aren't the ones you're fighting.
aren't involved.
Okay.
right.
So
But yeah,
But-
that was the battle zone. The Interstellar Theater, playing some cool sci-fi stuff. It's like a little kind of almost like a drive-in, like a little drive-in rocket theater, an indoor drive-in. It was very
You
cool.
have to go up on the
Um,
catwalk and stuff. Yeah, that's fun.
Yeah, and the Nuka Galaxy is kind of like Space Mountain, but like we were
Mhm.
saying, with robots and flying saucers and all
Yeah.
kinds of stuff. And
Very
it's
cool.
very cool, except for when it's attacking you, and then it sucks.
Yeah.
And that is pretty much it. Those are all the parks, and you can get all your cores. And once you put them in, you can power it down. And of course, if you get all 35, you can
35. I thought it
unlock
was 30.
your
God damn it.
power armor. It's
yeah, no,
35 total.
35.
Shit.
Yep.
There's still a few
There are
I
also
haven't gone
some
out to
other
get.
cool-
I didn't go visit. There's one at the junkyard. I think is there one
Mhm.
by the hubologist. I haven't gone to see them yet. All that stuff.
I was going to also mention
I got the 20 and I stopped.
there are some cool rides, like the ArcJet G-Force ride. Did you guys try that? That's actually really fun. You climb to the very top, and then you get on a platform, you click a button, and it just goes
Boom,
up
boom.
and down super fast.
I don't think
Yeah.
it's supposed to operate like that. They'd be handling too many lawsuits. Good Lord.
Yeah.
And the
Yeah, I was
skeletons go
finally able to
flying.
jump off But what did I do? I did the G-Force. I went through Nuka Galaxy, Battle Zone, and I think maybe one other one. But I didn't have to go through that many. I already had several on me to start
That
with.
was smart. I picked up one on the way, maybe two, but I didn't have more than that. Yeah, I think I just picked up one because I have 7 left to find, which would be 3 in the park and 4 out there. So yeah, I only had the one. But anyway, that's the Galactic Zone, and it's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
And then when you're all done, the quest updates, you have to go back and talk to Gage. So you go back in, and he's super impressed. You can have a whole conversation with him. He's like, "Boss, you actually did it, and you can take whatever tack you want. You can be, hey, you doubted me, and you can be cocky. You can be like, of course I did. It's what I do, And yeah, so you get talking to him. You turn it in, completes the quest, and then he tells you, okay, this is a great foundation. We're sitting prettier than we ever been. But at the same time, the gangs, if you don't have a goal, you don't have something to focus on, they're gonna cause fights. They're gonna start eating each other, and that's when he talks about his plan to invade the Commonwealth. And that's gonna start our next quest, Power Play, where you got to go talk to Shank.
Felt so dirty saying, "Yeah, I was
coordinate.
thinking the same thing, Gage." It's like, oh, smart.
There are things you can do. I was like, oh God, is Kira going to disapprove? Is Kira going to disapprove? But no, it seemed like whatever I said to Gage, she didn't disapprove. So I was happy about that.
I'm surprised at that. Gee whiz.
Probably because we were just kind of agreeing or saying, yeah, let's take the next steps without actually, doing it yet. Once we do it, I'm sure she'll be unhappy.
It's like, Kiri, remember all those people we helped out? Yeah, we're going to kill them now.
So that wraps it up. But
yeah.
Jason, did you have anything you wanted to add about Nuka World ever? Because you mentioned you hadn't really played it before.
No, both times I tried to play it when it first came out, and it glitched, so I couldn't damage anything. So no matter what I shot or punched or attacked with melee, I wasn't dealing any damage, but everything else was still killing me.
That's not good.
So
one-way damage, no.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
I don't know what caused that, but no matter how many times I tried to reload it or whatever, it was stuck like that, and I couldn't. At the time, I just couldn't be bothered starting from scratch and getting back up there again to do it. And then recently, when I went in with my Roundtable character, I'd done something. I'd cleaned up all my saves, and then I got into the combat where you're getting attacked by all the Mirelurks, and somehow the only saves I had was just before they killed me.
Oh no, that's the worst. I've been in that before. It's like when you reload, you die. When you reload, you die.
Yeah, and I was stuck with that, and so that was So that pretty much ended my Roundtable character.
I'm sorry to hear.
We'll play taps.
So far, Nuka World is cursed.
Yeah, it sounds like it. Goodness. Good night.
At some stage, I am going to get there and play through it.
Well, when you do, let us know how it goes. Absolutely. It'll be great. All right, I think that wraps up our Roundtable quest. If anyone's still playing the Roundtable stuff with us, we're going to be excited to hear your feedback next week. Send your 5-minute feedback over there to thefalloutfeed@gmail.com, and we'd love to hear from everybody. All right, rest of the show here. I got a quick Scream at Your Phone list, and Jess has a couple of iguana bits here. So let's roll in to...
What time is it?
Game time. So a quick Scream at Your Phone list here. Sort of related to our pig corn from a couple of weeks ago. The pig corn from a couple of weeks ago, if you guys don't remember, was named weapons from Fallout 4. And so we're going to do a list here, Scream at Your Phone list, which just means the participants here are just going to Take turns naming the items from this list. These are going to be the unique named weapons from Nuka World. So I just want you guys to take turns, seeing how many we can knock off on this list. We have 12 named weapons here in this list, not including there's some grenades, evidently, some like persuasion grenades and stuff that you have to use on settlers to make them more agreeable and stuff like that. When you go back to the main, it's like I haven't even seen these. I don't know if like Gage gives you these later or something, but there's like 3 new grenades, and I did not include that sort of stuff. Only these are like just the named sort of like ballistic and energy weapons. A couple of melee ones too. So let's go ahead and start with Jason just to see if he can name any of these named weapons in Nuka World. I know you haven't played through the whole thing, but can you name one of them?
No, I can't.
All right. That is fine. We'll bounce back and forth between Ray and Jess here and see who can name the most. Let's go ahead with Jess. Jess, can you name any unique named weapons from Nuka World?
I don't know many, so I'm going on a limb here, but the hub alien blaster.
Yes, that is called Hub's Alien Blaster. Good job. Ray, do you have one?
Thirst Zapper.
Yes, the Thirst Zapper is included in there. Jess, do you have any more?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Now that we're talking about it, now that I'm in the zone,
You're in
I was
the
doing
zone.
math when you were explaining the game. So
No,
sorry.
no
I was
math,
just
no
a little
math
distracted.
involved.
Yeah, I did some serious math, but so the problem solver, the one you get from the pack.
Absolutely, the problem solver's on the list. Good job. Ray, back to you, sir.
Splatter Cannon.
Splatter Cannon. Yes, sir. Perfect. Jess, back to you.
So I don't know if you get one in each zone. I feel like you probably do of some kind. So the one you get from Cito, his baseball.
Yes. Cito's shiny.
Cito shiny. Yeah. Shiny.
Yep, shiny
not
slugger.
swatter.
Shiny
Slugger.
swada. Swada. It's a swada. Could you imagine if he put on the Boston accent? Cheeto, no shiny swada. All right, Ray, back to you, sir.
That would be awesome. How about the Sword of Wonders?
Yes,
Oh.
Oswald's weapon there, the Sword of Wonders. Good job, Ray. Jess, do you have any more?
I don't know that I do. So I can't think of one from the World of Refreshment, the beverage one.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't think of one from the Gulch we just did, but there might be, but I can't think of it.
Well, the Gulch included one which I did not put on this list. Is called the Western Revolver. That's not in the
I did get a Western
mainland.
revolver there. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
But that's not really a
Yeah,
specific
that's
name
just a
thing.
regular gun.
Yeah, it's just a regular gun, really. There's no
Yeah,
legendary
you get
effect
that
on
from
it or
Ike for
anything.
the.
Any others?
I
Any
might-
others? Any others? I'll give you a hint here.
I
How
might be
about there's a couple that you can buy with Nuka tickets at the in the game area. You know what I mean? There's like a vending machine there.
The paddle ball? This is where you get
Paddle
paddle
ball.
There's-
Yes, good job, Jess. Paddle ball is one of those. Ray, back to you.
One of the best knives in the game. Throat Slicer.
Throat slicer, absolutely. Jess, can you think of any others? There's one more from that machine, I believe.
So
is
you
there?
get the thirst sapper, you get the paddle ball.
Maybe not from the machine. I might be wrong about that.
I can't think of one. No, let's see if Ray's got another because I think I'm out.
Ray, got any more?
Nuka Nuke.
The Nuka Nuke launcher. Absolutely, Ray. Good job. How about others?
Good one.
Jess, if any others pop into your mind, go ahead and hop back in. Ray, how many more can you name?
I think that's about it.
Okay. If I tell you
I
what
never do the ticket, so I don't know what
is in the machine.
what's in that machine.
Yeah.
And I don't know those grenades, so thankfully you didn't add those.
Oh, wait. The commie whacker.
Yes, Commie Whacker. Good job, Jess.
This is where you first
Nice.
get it, isn't it? I think
believe
it is.
So.
I'm so
I
used to
think
seeing
it
it
is.
on
I think it
76.
is a Nuka World exclusive named weapon. I've got 2 more on my list. Oh, this one, I know that one of them is from that machine where you get the paddle ball. Absolutely, that one is, and I'm not sure about this last one.
Quantum grenade count? You get them anyway, though, don't you?
I didn't count that as like a named weapon. Okay, so the last one that you get from the same machine as the paddle ball is something called the Acid Soaker, which is a cool looking gun. When I saw the picture of it, I had to look it up because I didn't remember. But evidently, it's based off the stats of the Deliverer, but it has a sort of a glass bottle attached to the top of it. It doesn't look like the Deliverer, but it's based on the stats of her. And it has like a cool little glass reservoir, and you shoot acid, and it deteriorates people's damage resistance. So you can spray them with acid and then switch to another weapon and shoot them with that. So the Acid Soaker, which I think you can get at the same machine as the paddle ball. And the last one is a Gatling laser with the infinite ammo perk, so you don't ever have to reload or anything. Is that a clue?
What's that one
called? It's called a, I don't even know if I'm going to pronounce this correctly, Eternus, Aeternus, Eternus. I assume it has something to do with eternity.
eternity?
Works for me.
Yeah, but that was the last one. You guys did remarkably well. You got 10 out of the 12 there, so good job on this week's edition of...
With a hint.
What time is it?
Game time. Perfect. All right, let's wrap up the show with a couple of iguana bits. Jess, what do we have in the way of news?
So I mentioned I was doing math. That's because I saw something on Reddit, and I'm like, this is an iguana bits thing. Let me actually calculate it. So this would have actually been perfectly applicable about 3.5 months ago. But we are now,
Timely.
It has been longer since Fallout 4 released to now than it has been between when Fallout 3 released and when Fallout 4 came out. So between Fallout 3 and Fallout 4, it was 7 years and 17 days between the two. 7 years, 17 days. And in between that, of course, we got New Vegas and Skyrim to tide us over.
Yeah.
Since Fallout 4 came out, it has been 7 years, 9 months, and 26 days. We are almost to 8 years. And in between that, we've had 76 and now Starfield tied us over. But we had both of those, and then Fallout 4 came out. So, we're a little behind schedule, what it should be. But of course, that means we're getting Fallout 5 as the next game.
No,
Except
we're not. We're gonna get Skyrim 2 before we're gonna get Fallout 5.
Yeah, we're getting Skyrim Part 2, Electric Boogaloo, exactly.
So seriously, what is it? Elder Scrolls 6? They don't count ESO as one of the entries, right? Just like they don't count 76 as one of the Fallout entries. So
I mean, 76 to a lot of us is a mainline Fallout, but it really, it's not Fallout 5.
Yeah.
So it's all how you look at it. Fallout 76 is more in line with the other Fallouts than ESO is with Elder Scrolls, because it was at least made by, Bethesda Game Studios compared to ZeniMax Online, and it is more of a Fallout game using the engine. Even the engine's heavily, heavily modified for 76. It was using the same engine. But yeah, I just thought it was an interesting fact that it's been longer since Fallout 4 came out than it was between 3 and 4 by a good 9 months.
So they're probably going to go ahead and count Fallout London. Just so they can say it hasn't been that long since we released a game.
Yeah, exactly.
I'd like to play Fallout London. Will that ever come to consoles?
Cannot wait. Probably not.
Probably not.
We'll figure out a way to play it for you. And yes, Oblivion 3 says Sulior. Exactly. Oblivion 3 will be next.
Yeah. Skyrim 2, Oblivion 3, Arena Part 7, something like that.
Oh gosh. Hopefully 2027, 2028. There are people who still say 2030 before the next Elder Scrolls. We'll find out. Starfield just came out.
2030? I thought you were going to say Fallout 5. 2030 for that Elder Scrolls game? That means Fallout 5 is going to be...
No, that's not my opinion.
2038.
I think 2027
God
from 28.
Damn, it's going to be a decade from now. Not from the last game, from now. It's going to be a decade from Fallout 5. Holy shit.
It's going to be a while. But I just saw that fact and I had to fact check it, and I just thought people would enjoy that, or not enjoy it, as the case may be.
Well,
but we have Starfield, and it's amazing.
the games get larger and more complex, and I'm sure that adds to development time, but the technology used should also make it faster in the development. So who knows what the actual, rate of game development
this time
goes, right?
we had COVID in there as well.
Yeah.
Skyrim was done by a Bethesda Game Studios, a little over 100 people. They had about 200 or so for Fallout 4, if I remember correctly, and now there are over 450 people at Bethesda Game Studios who just gave us Starfield. So, staffing is increasing, other things are increasing.
The more you increase staff, you think it goes faster, but that's just lets you go more in depth at the same time. So it probably doesn't actually get any faster, right?
Yeah,
awesome.
But I do think they're going to be back on track. Like, just add a year development time. Not as much as people are scared that it's going to be. I don't think it's going to be as bad as people think. But now that they redid the engine,
she's optimistic.
Yeah.
Always.
Since Todd Howard is hopeful but not optimistic that they will get Fallout 5 released before he retires.
How old is he?
Yeah,
is
quite possible.
Is he in his 60s, 50s?
I think he's 52.
He's 52?
I think right around there.
And is he, I know he's one of the more wealthy gentlemen in the video game industry that we know the names of. Is he the type who would retire early, or is he going to work into his 80s, do you think?
Who knows? I do feel like, you see a lot of people at studios who, change studios, change focus. He has just been the producer and in the trenches on these games for so long. I don't see it happening anytime soon personally, but we have no way of knowing.
Do you think when he does retire that he will ever play another video game again? Or like he's going to walk away from video games when he retires?
Oh, no, he'll
imagine.
play.
You think?
Yeah.
He is a gamer. He enjoys them. He talks about other games. He plays, with his son, talks about that, playing together. And
that's good.
Yeah, I don't see that ever ending.
Good.
But to the actual Iguana bits,
yes.
Not just the whole making us all feel old or depressed or whatever that has been so long since 4 came out. We actually do have a calendar, a better calendar than that right here. Right now for Fallout 76, Meat Week is still happening. It'll be going up until the 11th. So we've got just a couple more days, 3 more days of Meat Week, and your double helping will be up. So if you haven't played it all, do at least a couple. Get yourself some of those adorable pigs, Punty Pig, Pepino Pig, all these new little pigs. Get your plans from Graham. Nothing else for this month on the calendar, really, until coming up in October. And that's when, the usual will be back. We've got Bombs Drop coming up, the classic October 23rd day. And I'm hearing that there may be some things for Celebrate the 23rd this year.
Nice.
Every year they say there might be, and sometimes it's just, in-game events. Sometimes there's more to it. So we'll find out. And then, of course, Spooky Scorched and that birthday suit challenge. But that'll be around the 5th anniversary. So we'll get there.
Will Graham
have on the calendar.
Will Graham have his plans after Meat Week ends? If you see him walking out around in the wasteland, will you be able to get those plans still? Those aren't an event only.
You can get all the new ones, but not the pig plans. So those are Meat Week rewards, as far as I know.
Okay.
But the other ones he sells, no, he'll have them in his inventory all the time.
The various colors of light ball and picnic tables, etc. Right. Okay.
Yep. I also put in Iguana Bits, just a quick note for people. If you are a builder or you have a camp that uses glow items, a very popular build trick over the last 2 years has been, there are some items that you can build that will radiate light and not cut against your light budget.
Yeah.
Which is very useful because we're limited to 50 lights in our camp. A number of those, like the Winterman effigy, some of the fires, the plasma ball especially, if you destroy them, they continue to glow anyway. So a lot of us use them for accent lighting all over our camps to make things glow. So like if you're in my theater, for instance, Riverside Theater, you'll see a lot of the trees have a nice purple glow in them, and you can still see when it's dark because I'm using destroyed plasma balls. My dojo has a couple of Winterman effigies that have been destroyed in the center to light the whole thing. So there are a number of things like that. Well, with the last update 2 weeks ago, not Meat Week, but before we actually got the real update, but we didn't realize right away. These have been turned off.
Oh,
Now, a number of
no.
items that could be destroyed and still have effects after. This includes the asteroids too. The asteroids glow and continue after you destroyed them. Are no longer glowing. So we're losing one of our cool light sources. So if you load into your camps or sunless camps, you're like, gee, I thought this was more colorful. That's why we've lost some lighting effects. The build community isn't like as up in arms about this, but I think it's because it's conveniently distracted by Starfield. That's what I didn't even realize. It took me a week to realize, and then someone else said something. I'm like, oh my God, you're right. So
well, that's terrible.
Just want to put that out there.
Do they ever bring that stuff back when they take something away? Do they make a point of putting stuff back in? A lot of times we have, sometimes? Yeah. Okay. We've
talked about things being reversed. I mean, some of them have been real fast. Like when they stopped letting us float walls and do double walls, that only took like 3 days at most to fix.
Well, that's because you guys had
outcry about that.
You guys had the pitchforks and the torches out for that. I remember that one.
Out for blood, yeah. that was a big one. Most recently, I think late spring, early summer, they did a thing where you could not float doors and a few other items that allowed you to swap doors effectively. That took about 10 days and they reversed half of it. So they reversed some of what they took away with that. So they do reverse things. This one, I don't know that it will be. But like I said, there just hasn't been the same level of outcry. It's a trick that a lot of us use, but it's not instrumental. It just looks nice, but it's not something you need to build structurally, you know?
Sweet. Well, hopefully they'll bring it back at some point. Yeah. All right. Is there any other topics anybody would like to chat about before we sign off for the evening?
I mean, we could talk more Starfield. Yeah, that covers it for me.
Talk more Starfield. And in that
the Atomic Shop doesn't have anything new right now. Oh, I should mention the new cooking station, the ButchoBot cooking station.
Yeah, I thought that was new and fun.
That is super awesome. So it's a meat chop and robot with the cleavers and stuff like that. And there's also a new handy station too that whips up a bunch of food. So we've got a lot more automatronic items in the game now to go with, like, because you had the Dr. Chem Den with like the bot that did the chems.
Yes.
And now you've got the handy and the ButchoBot, and there's really cool.
What's the handy one?
I feel like supplements.
What's the handy one? I don't know if I've seen that one.
Remember what he's called?
Mr. Handy Cake Maker or something like that.
That sounds right.
He is hilarious to listen to. He's got some really funny lines.
I don't remember that one.
It's on the scoreboard.
It's brand new.
Oh, it's brand new. Yeah. Okay, yeah. Maybe I'll have to go look them up then. All right. Sounds good.
Yeah, a lot of those new items. So, worth collecting, getting off the scoreboard, which I have been neglecting. I'm like rank 19 because,
I think I just hit 52, 53. I'm in that ballpark.
I think I'm about 61.
Nice. Good job.
See, you guys doing your chores before you play Starfield.
Yeah, you got to get your chores done before you can go have fun. My parents whipped that into me at a young age. Get your responsibilities done before you have fun. That's a slap in the face to all those people who work hard at making 76 a fun game.
Right. 76 is a ton of fun, but we've got new shiny toys.
There's new shiny toys. We're magpies. We're attracted to the new shiny things. All right, you guys, I think that's a good place where we can say goodnight for the evening. Jason, would you like to tell everyone where we can find you online? Do you got like a Twitter or an Instagram or any sort of social media that people can follow you at? Or I know you like to chat in our Discord a lot.
No, I don't really have any social media type platforms.
All right,
myself.
Well, join our Discord if you'd like to interact with Jason. He's a really good guy, and lots of fun interactions over there on our Discord. So, Green Dragon, very fun to have you on the show this week. Thanks so much for hopping on, and it was a pleasure to have you on. Yeah, thanks so much. You can find Ray on Twitter at RayLB. You can find his No Man's Sky show at BBC ISSS, the Butcher, Baker, Candlemaker in Space. Everyone check out that podcast as well. You guys all playing Starfield as well? Are you going to weave any Starfield chat into BBC ISSS?
I'm sure it'll probably come up. So we have a few other things planned, but with with any good luck, this weekend we will record our 100th episode.
Wow! Congratulations,
Oh.
you guys. That's a milestone. Really
That's
nice.
awesome.
Yeah, and Jen and Baker have some fun things planned.
Oh, beautiful. Well, you're passing the century mark, you guys. Really great. Everyone check out that show. And Ray, thanks so much for hopping on.
Good times.
You can find Jess at Sleep is for Tea, and she does the Dames Who Game show at Dames Who Game over there on the Twitter. Jess, thanks so much for hopping on tonight.
Thank you. Thank you.
I can be found at Indie Android. The show is at the Fallout Feed. I'd like to thank everyone for downloading this edition of the Fallout Feed, and we will see you in the Wasteland.
Thank you for downloading this episode of the Fallout Feed Roundtable. If you are interested in doing a play-along character with us, the show can be contacted by emailing falloutroundtable@gmail.com. For the Roundtable schedule, our Amazon link, and all other show information, please head on over to asapodcasting.com, where you will find the Fallout Feed, a Skyrimatic podcast, our YouTube channel, the Chatterbox, as well as other content. Once again, thank you for downloading, and we'll see you in the Wasteland.
I was a little bit, cocky.
Unload on you.
We all jump on together at the same time.
Squirt, squirt, blue goo. You ripped him a new one, partner. You're going to need meats and cheeses. I had a floating porthole at one point.
Really long time.
Nova Blast.
Usually knock them all out together at the same time.